Hi everyone, it's Varouche. Welcome to my channel. Sorry about the mic in the beginning. I'll take that out once we are done. But good morning everyone, and welcome to Venus Cazimi with the Sun. I'm excited to be here with you guys to do this video for you about the moment that Venus and the Sun align in perfect alignment. They have just passed the closest conjunction, and they are moving apart. But this is a good time to talk about Venus Cazimi with the Sun and Venus retrograde and Venus in Leo. If you guys are aware of this, I did another presentation that was just astrology based, and it's linked in the description after I finish filming. I really recommend that you watch that because it's a very detailed explanation about what Venus retrograde is and what it isn't, and I give you a lot of very intense information in it. So it's about an hour long, and I think it's really good, and so you should go check it out if you haven't seen it already, or see it again if you are so inclined. Today what we're going to do is talk about Venus retrograde in the context of the Cazimi. This means when Venus is within the same degree as the Sun. And then we will do a heart-shaped spread for every single zodiac sign. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time because let's introduce now what the Cazimi represents. The Cazimi is the moment in which Venus joins the Sun at the exact degree. Do you see that here at 20 degrees of Leo? And so this is a very special moment while Venus is retrograde because, like I said in the original video, the mythology states that Venus goes into the underworld and transforms between her Hesperus state, the evening star, when she rises at sunset and is seen in the western sky, and then she transforms into the morning star and she rises right before sunrise and is seen in the eastern sky. So much so that ancient people thought that this was two different gods or two different entities in the sky, two different stars, before they realized that it was one planet. So this has a very long and deep history that I also talked about in our recent video. But I just want to kind of touch on something that I think is really important, and it will really connect with what we're going to do with the tarot today. And that is that Venus in the underworld, which is based on a very old tradition, is actually a story about rebirth and regeneration of our selves. And so ancient peoples venerated Venus and her predecessor Ishtar, Innana, and even unnamed goddesses before that. And so they thought that this was connected with the cycles of the earth, with the cycles of growth, and with harvest. And so her descent into the underworld for them was a cycle of rebirth and regeneration. And so so today when we're going to do this heart-shaped spread, we're going to look at the evening star as this side of the heart. If you guys aren't familiar with this, I have this spread that I've done for years. It's called the heart-shaped spread. I developed it, and I usually read it one way, but today we're going to try a different way. And that is that this side of the heart is going to be the evening star, the cycle we just finished. So we'll reflect on the things that have come out from that phase. And then we're going to look at the second part of the heart, which is the morning star, the phase that is beginning right now. And we're going to talk about what's going to happen moving forward. So I think it's really important to address the the myth of Innana or the myth of the descent into the underworld, although I don't really want to fully do that here because I want to focus on this. This is going to be a long reading for every single sign, so I want to make sure that I have enough strength and capacity to get through it. But I just want to address the idea that the descent of Innana is somehow connected with her relationship to other people, specifically men. Innana was a goddess that was the ultimate deity of her time. She wasn't powerful because she was a woman. She was powerful because she was a god. And just like we don't question the authority of the patriarchy and addressing modern gods as male or male gendered, these ancient peoples did not attribute her divinity to the fact that she was a woman, if that was not the predicate. And therefore, her relationship with Dumuzid, who is her consort or partner, is not necessarily this divine masculine, divine feminine archetype that some New Age spiritualists would like to tell you. The problem with spirituality in general is that when we introduce a concept to everyone, oftentimes people jump on the bandwagon and they spread misinformation without understanding the history or the archaeology of what we are talking about. So, for example, you can read the book or the text of Innana into the Underworld in about 15 minutes. It's relatively short. Well, it's long, but it's relatively short in terms of our 1,000-page book perspective. And so without understanding the context from which this story derives, a person could assume that that relationship between her and Dumuzid is one of the divine feminine and divine masculine because he's a man and she is a woman, and there is something called the sacred marriage, which is a spiritual rite, which is separate from this story, and that sacred marriage was actually a ceremonial rite performed by ancient kings and a priestess who would perform this sacred rite of the sacred marriage of Innana and Dumuzid. And Dumuzid is actually a demigod and is not a full god. He is her consort. So he never is a representation of the full manifestation of a masculine god. He is her support actor. He is supporting Innana's story. And so in ancient times, like I said, kings would perform the marital rites with a priestess and therefore validate their positions as Dumuzid. So he was revered, but Innana was the big god, hands down, and it was not because she was a woman, it was because she was Innana, and she was the patron deity of specific countries and regions and locations, and that's why she was revered this way, because those countries and those cities prospered. And so a lot of these stories, including Innana's descent into the underworld, is an allegory for historical events that were happening. So attributing it to simply a divine masculine, divine feminine is erasure of all this ancient history of the Near East. And Westerners, unfortunately, do have a history of doing this. It's called Orientalism, where they appropriate the history, the true nature of a situation, and derive from it conclusions that suit them and objectify those cultures and those belief systems. And so I would just encourage you to be careful or gentle with believing this story as simply a divine feminine and divine masculine figure, and I would encourage you to consider it as a story of a god, genderless. Well, Innana has a gender, but for men, this applies to you equally to women, and the cycle of renewal and regeneration in all of our lives and progression. I also find it a bit problematic when people assume that there's this progression. In spirituality, there's this rhetoric of this progression towards an outcome that we want to achieve. And this idea that if we integrate just enough the feminine and the masculine aspects of ourselves, then we will become whole. And I think that this is problematic, and I do think that it's based in Western, patriarchal, even Christian, evangelical concepts and ideas that were popularized by mystics in the early 20th century and psychologists like Jung, who perpetuated or worked within these archetypes. These are othering archetypes in a way because they create a binary that we have to exist in, and we are aware that this binary doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. There are many people who live a variety of gender expressions that are not necessarily within the divine feminine, divine masculine binary. And so you guys maybe have noticed that I've avoided this topic for the last several years as I've been trying to figure out my position on that whole conversation. But again, this is a much deeper topic, a much more important topic that we should just devote some very specific time for so we can give it a full conversation. But for the purpose of our reading today, I really want to stay away from the concept that we are trying to achieve some whole that is just outside of our reach. And if we just integrate just a little bit more or work within this binary, we will become more complete. I think that it's a little bit of snake medicine. I think it's a little bit of chasing something, and at the end, there may not be anything there. And so I think it's a little bit, don't set yourselves up for that story. You are complete, you are whole, and this cycle is much more beautiful when we consider it as a completion of one phase of life events that are moving on to another phase without the expectation of some happy ending at the end of a journey or some specific outcome. Life is a journey, and it keeps continuing on. And like in my Venus retrograde video, I kind of alluded to this. The pentagram that Venus retrograde forms in her conjunctions with the sun is not really a pentagram, but actually a fractal that moves through space. So go back and watch that video if you didn't watch it. So I don't want to hit you over the head with too much, but I think of Innana, whether you're a female, male, anything else, or anyone else, think of Innana as a god representing a powerful transformation. And her phase of the evening star transforming into the morning star right now, shifting between a phase of contending with what life has become and transforming into, once again, chasing the sun, because she will be now behind the sun for 9 months. So she will be chasing her destiny. If you want to apply that to a romantic relationship that you're in, you're welcome to do that. But I think that you're cutting yourself short if you're trying to force that into a divine feminine or divine masculine narrative. I think it's much broader than that. And I think that it's a much bigger cycle that affects all of us. Okay? And so one other thing, and I did go into this into our astrology talk video, this is happening at 20 degrees of Leo. And let me remind you that this cycle began, the last inferior conjunction or the retrograde conjunction Cazimi happened in 2015, but there was a superior conjunction when Venus was moving direct in 2019 at exactly the same point within, I think, 1 degree. And so this is a also repeat cycle. And so think about 2019 as how it applies to you. And the next point is going to happen in 4 years, so 2027, and we'll talk about that. That will be another superior conjunction. So this is kind of an ebb and flow event. So this is the ebb. We're going to catch up to the sun in this cycle by 2027, and then we're going to have another moment of rumination or thinking about the past or dealing with what has happened. So we're making our bed and then we're going to lay in it later. So we're done laying in bed and we're ready for life to begin. We're chasing our destiny. We're chasing the sun. And the other beautiful thing that's coming up that I also mentioned in that long video was that Venus is going to actually not Venus, there's going to be an eclipse in 2026 at 20 degrees of Leo. So I gave you all the information in the other video. It'll be in the description, but you should go check that out. And that is tied in to this entire event. So another thing is happening right now, and I don't mean to be so contentious with other people about what's happening. This is definitely not an act of superiority or some kind of, personal vendetta or something like that. This is about my personal frustration. My background is in critical theory and philosophy, and so it is concerned with post-colonialism and deconstruction of identities. So I don't talk about this so much, but in the subtext of everything I do is my concern for the welfare of humankind, of all people, of all identities of people. And so I always strive to be true to all of you in who you genuinely are and deconstructing those labels that we're labeled with. And so because of this, oftentimes in spirituality, you mention something like the descent into the underworld, and a bunch of people who may be good intentioned start to gaslight the public, and misinformation spreads. The other issue is, of course, Lionsgate that we've been talking about. So people hear, I call it the game of telephone. People hear about something on the internet, and then they misrepresent and they spread this misinformation, and then it spreads like wildfire, and then it transforms into something it's not. I do believe in Gestalt, as I've said. I like the idea of various different opinions and takes, but I think that is a balancing act always with respect for different cultures and different people and their history. And so when you are appropriating ideas from cultures you're not taking time to understand, and then you're spreading this misinformation to get recognition for a search keyword that's trending or is popular, I think that's somewhat problematic, and I think it's somewhat dishonest. On a spiritual level, I think that's not going to lead my audience to a good place. So when you're wrapped up in thinking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, I think that you're missing the point of who you are and who you're transforming into. And so you're being misguided, I believe, from my perspective. And so so I'm not begrudging anyone. I'm not being hateful. I'm not trying to undermine anybody else's authority, or this isn't motivated by any kind of ill will towards anyone. But it is a frustrating thing to know that people, and I know who is doing what because I know the true story. It's very frustrating from my end to see people be so predatory in a space in which we're supposed to be helping and supporting and elevating each other. And so I'm definitely on the side that truth is the true elevation, even if it's not always love and light. I think it avoids problems and difficulties that we may experience. And so that's all I'm here for. And so in light of this, there's another event that's happening right now, especially for those of you who are living at about the 45th latitude. That is the rising of Sirius. And this is the event that often gets confused with Lionsgate. And so the rising of Sirius, I've already did some videos about. You can check it out. I think I'm going to put it all in one playlist. So I'll put that in the description when I'm done. But the rising of Sirius is confusing because Venus, the planet, used to be confused with the Sirius star. And I tried to address this in a previous video. And so because the events are happening at the same time together, and they will be for iterations of 8 years moving forward for several decades, maybe even like 50 years. So every 8 years this is going to happen. Venus and the Sirius star are going to rise together, not exactly the same day, but around the same time. And so that's very special. It's a mixing of omens, it's mixing of traditions, and it's really beautiful, but they are separate events, and I want you to understand that. I've made a list, and I'm going to post it to Instagram, of all the different events people have been confusing Lionsgate with. And that's my personal thorn in my side because essentially Lionsgate is a construct, a New Age construct, that is based on the appropriation of many different traditions. So people keep on applying to that different ideas or different holidays and celebrations from around the world. And they try to justify it, say, this is Lionsgate and Orion's belt and this and that. And it's not good for our collective spirituality to ignore people's history, ignore the history of events, because then you're participating in a lie, basically, to be honest. Okay, so the last thing that I want to say, it's a beautiful day today. I'm not upset. I just really want to get it very clear to you guys about what we're dealing with here. This is the transformation of a god. Yes, it's gendered in modern astrology, and I mean modern astrology like all of astrology that we practice since, 700 BCE. But the underlying energy of that is of transformation between a state of remembering and contending with reality as it is, and transforming into the morning star, and once again chasing your destiny. So it's a beautiful, maybe this is where we can stop and begin the reading. I'm really not trying to be overly political or sound upset. I'm not upset at all, but I want you guys to know what you're dealing with, because I think you're being misinformed a bit. And I do want to say that I do believe that a lot of this is really innocent. And if you're an astrologer or a tarot card reader out there and you're watching this, then, maybe this is food for thought. And there was a time when I also promoted Lionsgate. My story with Lionsgate was that I believed, when I found out about it, I didn't really understand it fully. I understood it to be what people say, and that is the rising of Sirius. But the more that I got familiar with it, I realized that it's not what it seems. And the problem with that is that people who say that it is make it sound very convincing. They're unwillingly gaslighting. And so by about 2018, I started telling you guys, like, chill with the Lionsgate, chill a little bit with this. There's a better holiday, an older holiday here. the other reason for it was early on in terms of astrology, the collective, not individual people, but the collective had a very lower understanding of astrology. And so when you raised topics that were outside of the status quo, basic, even sun and full moon was like a huge concept for people back in 2015, 2016. So it was hard for the collective to understand. I know some of you guys are experts. I know some of you guys know it very well, but the collective didn't understand this as well before. And so Lionsgate was a great opportunity to teach about the Sirius star, only to realize that it was fabricated and it wasn't actually talking about the Sirius star, but some other New Age conception. So be careful when you're spreading that information. If you're an astrologer or a tarot card reader, I don't think you're going to end up on the good side of history if you perpetuate this myth. I don't think it's based in truth. And fortunately for us, we have a couple different events, and that is the Sirius rising, right? Which is right where the moon is right now, or moon just past Sirius star a little bit this morning. And then we have the rising of Venus in a couple days, and that's wonderful as well. So again, not trying to be political. I did want to address one thing before I forget. The moon transited in Cancer, still in Cancer this morning, and it's applying a sextile to Uranus here, which is on a square to these positions here. And so today is a beautiful day. It's really a time to celebrate and elevate our consciousness and awareness. Overall, I don't recommend you manifest until after probably September 15th. I think you should chill on that. And I think the reason for this is we have a massive retrograde cycle beginning, which is normal. It happens every year. But more importantly, and I told the members about this, and I will dedicate more time to this in a future video. I just want to tell you guys about this right now. Mars is in Virgo right now, and it's creating a trine to Uranus. Now, these are pretty wide orbs, but the configuration is there. And so as Mars moves up in Virgo, especially after the new moon on the 16th, it's going to create a trine to Pluto up here in Capricorn. We have a grand trine, but look what's happening here. We have Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces is the midpoint between Pluto and Uranus. Now, these orbs are not exact, but because of this configuration, that's very rare. This is forming a kite formation. So a lot of people are telling you late August is weird astrology this year. I actually think it's this configuration that could really potentially set something off in your life or in world events. So I don't think it's a great time to, I think it's a great time to make plans. I think it's a great time to work with yourself to move forward. I don't think it's a great time to externalize your intentions. I think it's a really good time to sit back and wait and see what the world is saying, what the world has to say to us, and what's happening. And then a more practical approach would be to wait until after September 14th and then give your response then. That's how I would work with this energy. We'll talk about it more, but there's this kite configuration that's quite rare. This is involving 3 big planets and Mars, and it could really initiate a lot of abrupt changes and transformation. I actually just noticed Junko's comment. Hi, Junko. And they mentioned that Pluto Return for the US. Now, I did a lot of videos about this before for members only. It's a lot of dense content as well, and so I have to prepare it correctly for everybody to watch. But basically, I proposed back in January that the Pluto return for the United States was not last year, as people were saying. as Pluto enters the first degree of Aquarius, this is where the great conjunction was between Saturn and Jupiter in 2000, in December 2000, remember? When Pluto reaches that 1 degree, adjusted for sidereal systems, which is the other system of astrology based on the stars, we're actually in the middle of the U.S. Pluto return right now. So this is in mundane astrology, which I'm kind of talking about, but not really right now. This event, this grand trine, this kite off of Neptune, to me really signals a really unstable time for the United States and transformative. But I don't want to talk about it too soon, because I think, again, there's a lot of pessimism out there, and I think America is a great country with great principles, and I really want to give you guys my full thoughts about it when I'm fully ready to present that, okay? So yes, thank you guys all for being here and watching. And now let's get into the astrology, or the tarot. And I do want to focus on tarot right now, but I am going to kind of bring in some astrology so you guys see how this Cazimi works in your chart. So in summary, this is a blessing. This is your personal transformation. It's time to get going and chase your destiny, chase the sun, but with the caveat that the astrology in August and early September is still kind of funky. So you may want to wait until after that to really externalize. But you shouldn't like hang out and chill and not do anything. You can do things quietly by yourself to the side. You can prepare, you can work out, you can study, you can do whatever you need to do. But I think it's that externalizing. You want to see what's happening in the world, what's happening with the people around you before you make your move. And I would suggest that you hang back, okay? So the way that I do my astrology readings is that I read for sun, moon, and rising. And I also have a video for members only about why sun sign astrology works. This is another one of these telephone conversations that are happening online in which people are gaslighting because they know some limited information, and they are trying to perpetuate a belief system from limited knowledge. So I explain to members why sun sign astrology works, and it is the oldest form of astrology. It predates the horoscope, predates. So I do think that watching for the sun, especially in a collective reading, is very helpful. But you should be watching for whatever placement you have that has a lot of emphasis. For example, if this was my natal chart, this chart for today, look at all these transits in Virgo. There's a lot happening in Virgo. There's a lot happening in Taurus. If I was born today and this was my chart, at certain times watching for Taurus and Virgo would be helpful, even though I would have a Leo sun, Cancer rising, Cancer moon, or another rising sign. So we can talk about the mechanics of sun sign astrology later, but just trust me on this. I do think that it's like a marketing scheme. I do think that there is some validity to the concerns people are raising. So I'm not saying that horoscope astrology is out and rising sign astrology doesn't work. I just don't like the predatory nature of the conversation. And because I understand the whole, both sides of it, I have to tell you guys that it is sun, moon, and rising. It does work for sun, moon, and rising. Okay, so let's leave it at that. But do watch for your sun, moon, or rising, or wherever there is emphasis in your chart. And I'm excited. This is going to be slow. I was going to talk for 15 minutes, but to explain the transformation that's happening today with the Venus Cazimi, I think that it was like 10 minutes just to explain the context. So I'm sorry about that. And that happens in my astrology, I find, to get people on the same page and to give them the correct information. It just takes extra time. Moving forward, I do think I will emphasize separate videos for that kind of stuff, but today we didn't have time, so I did it for you today. Okay, so I hope it helps with your understanding. Always use your critical thinking when thinking about stuff and try to understand, you know, how it works, why it works, etc. And second guess even me, you know, second guess each other and give that critical analysis of whatever you're facing. Okay, so we're going to start with Aries. Perfect place to start. There's a lot of downloads or information that I'm getting for Aries right now. I think that there's a lot going on for your sign. I haven't even begun to talk about the rising sign in Aries, and it's a very important moment in time for all of us. I definitely will do some collective readings with focus on Aries zodiac, so you guys can stay tuned for that. But let's pick a card first for... These are the Whispers of Love Oracle cards, just to get us centered. So you have this energy of true love, and this is once in a lifetime love. Very beautiful moment. I do think that this is a renaissance for the Aries zodiac sign, so I'm very excited to tell you about that. So this is happening in the 5th house, which is romance. So it is that kind of house of love. I don't know if you guys know this, but the 5th house is kind of my favorite house. And so there is a great blessing of wherever you've been in your life up to this time, Aries, you are now ready to move forward in love. You are now ready to pursue your heart's desire. If you're single and you don't want to pursue love, there's a shift still happening in terms of you moving forward and where you want to go. I think that with this moon, and when I'm looking towards the new configuration, I think that there's something that is going to quickly motivate you, especially for financial reasons, to move forward towards like financial opportunities. There might be a financial need that's going to prompt you to work really hard right now and move forward with your goals. Okay, so now let's take a look at the tarot cards. So remember, this is the heart-shaped spread, but it's different than the last times we've done it. So first we'll take a look at Hesperus, and then we'll take a look at Phosphorus, okay? So first we have the 10 of Angels, surrender. So you've been brought, and by the way, this is the Art of Love tarot. I think it's perfect for this transit. So that's why I brought it out, because it's all about self-love and understanding, which is a great time for this. You've been put into some kind of event, Aries, in which there is a situation that has reached an end. It may have been very difficult for you at times, and you may have felt very distraught or underwhelmed or brought down by situations. But in some ways, you should be glad that it's over. You should be glad that that chapter has ended. I sense that you're probably very tired right now of the circumstances that you have been contending with. So it's like maybe a difficult goodbye, but possibly a good one. And then we have the 10 of Stars, which is the 10 of Rods. And I know I'm going to run out of room. And the Sun. Okay. So now we're dealing with the Hesperus phase of the heart, which means the phase that last 9 months that have just ended. The last 9 months may have been a happy time. There may have been some really good outcomes, or at least you were reaching for great outcomes, but there was also a lot of weight that was placed on your shoulders that you were living with. And you were dealing with lies or deception. We have the moon here right now. There was definitely incidents in which you were exposed to untruths, or you were exposed to people telling you one thing and then other things happening. And then we have the High Priestess. This was a time for you to reach in and connect with inner knowledge and tap into what really matters to you. I think it's likely that some of you walked away from situations in the last 9 months. You decided that you wanted more. You decided to live with your heart. You were looking at things and how they played out, how other people treated you. And I think that you made the decision to demand more from your environment. So I think that's changed. A person may have come into your life, a King of Cups type figure. And so this person may have greatly influenced you to want more of a love-based relationship, want more of a heart-centered relationship. So now let's take a look at the other side of the heart, which is from today, from right now, the time of reading. For the next 9 months, what will you be chasing? What is the destiny you're chasing? We have the 8 of stars. Okay, the 8 of stars. I want to see both. So the first 2 cards, I should introduce this better, represent your highest aspirations. 7 of trees. So you have a bone to pick with life. You want to prove yourself and you want to spread the correct information. I think you were in a situation in which, you had great ambition, but because of possibly somebody else's actions, your ambition was somehow held back and you were unable to move forward with things as much as you wanted. That prompted you to have a change of heart and decide to focus more on emotional connection in order to move forward. Beautiful decision if you've done that. And so here, I think you come into this phase of Venus morning star as aspiring to prove yourself, to do it over again, to do it correctly this time. And I think you have pure intentions, the 8 of stars. Then we have the Page of Hearts. So this is a sign that a new relationship, be it friendship or love, it might be around the corner for some of you guys. This is a page which is an introductory relationship. You may be dating this person, and just as a reminder, this conjunction is happening in your 5th house. 5th house is more like romance, that dating than like marriage. So there's an introductory of something new, a new energy of love in your life. And I hope that you're excited to face it. And then we have the 9 of stars. Okay. You're going to be held back by the past, so you should prepare yourself to have a certain degree of hang-ups, to hold back from a situation. So what I would advise that you do is whatever kind of heartbreak or whatever kind of betrayal you felt you've experienced, moving forward, I feel like you should really take the time to address it, because if you address it early on, when you start interacting with others, when you try to prove yourself, when you start proving yourself and demand, to take your voice back, then I think that whatever has been left over from past situations, will be a hang up for you. So the earlier that you can deal with whatever feelings you have of betrayal to the past, the better off you are. And then we have the Emperor. Wherever you're stepping into, you're going to have a lot of authority on. You're going to have a very strong position. Remember, our core card is true love. So for some of you, this literally means a very deep connection with someone. And I feel like with the Father, the Emperor figure here, this can represent a person around you, but also something within yourself. Taking back your power, initiating change, and moving forward with authority. Now, the outcome card, I know everybody's always waiting on that. At least I am. Let's see. We have the 8 of Hearts. Saturn in Pisces, by the way. This is where Saturn is right now. Don't read some of the titles I find problematic in these cards. The 8 of Cups. I just think that you are moving forward, going to be somewhat emotionally contained. And I think that it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you are going to be emotionally self-contained, and it's going to be helpful because it is going to prevent you from getting hurt. And I think this is informed by the past. However, I also think that it could hurt you because you may not be able to fully welcome in love as much as you intend to or set off to. So I think moving forward, the challenge for you is to address any hardship from the past and really forgive yourself. I don't talk about forgiving others because that in certain situations can be incredibly hurtful for people to hear, but try to get on firm ground, Aries, moving forward as best as possible. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are liking the spread. Let me know in the comments, regardless of what your zodiac sign is, and tell me if you're liking this spread or this concept. I think it's working well. I think it's actually a better way to read the heart-shaped spread than the other way I do it. But maybe I'm bored of the other way or something like that. Okay, so, and I think Connie is here, and I know Connie likes to keep order of the readings, and thank you, Connie, for doing that. Just remember, you're not obliged to stick around because I have these cards which are going to keep the order for me perfectly. So this is going to be a long reading. I don't want Connie to be overly stuck. So you go live your life. You can hang out if you want to, but I do have the cards to keep order. So nobody's going to get missed, okay? So next we have Cancer. Hey, Cancer. So let's pick a oracle card for you guys. Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Sun, Moon, and Rising. Yeah, this might be 3 hours today, so. Hi, everyone. Okay. So, so Cancer, let me read it first and then I'll show you. Love makes the difference. Love can help heal past hurts and provide a sense of security, self-worth, and importance. Beautiful message. I love these cards. They are so intricate and so beautiful. Let me let you see that up close for a while. You can take a screenshot if you want. Okay, so why don't we start with the astrology? Because I do want to give you guys a little bit of a taste test of the astrology and what's going on for your zodiac sign. Okay, so let's see. This conjunction is happening in the second house. I think that this has a lot to do. Now, you know, everything's a spectrum. And so what I'm picking up on right away is financial abuse. And I know not every single Cancer person has had the extreme of abuse happen financially, but maybe within the spectrum of financial power struggles with others, you have been afflicted, Cancer, in the last phase coming up. And so right away, I'm getting a very strong message that for you, this is about financial independence, financial strength, and the combination of money and love and healing that need for money and love. So you don't have to do anything right now, but the next phase of the next 9 months, I believe for you will be motivated by really separating yourself in situations in which you had less financial power and moving forward to heal that. So let's take a look at your tarot cards and see what kind of message we have. And so this is a little different than the way I read the heart-shaped spread before. Watch the intro for more on that. And then we have the 10 of Hearts. We start off in a good place. So congratulations, Cancer. I think that for many of you, Pluto leaving your sign, whether it's there right now or not, the 7th house, I mean, I think you all know that you're in the final stretch of that transit. And for most of you, this is going to be one of the toughest transits that you live through in your whole life. So it's coming to an end, whether it was dramatic or whether it was just okay. it definitely is a transit that puts a lot of stress on your sign. So for many of you, circumstances that were oppressive in the past have come to an end. And so we find you in the 10 of Cups situation, fulfillment, completion, having moved on to a certain degree. Now, some of you are still dealing with the repercussions of those past events, but they're really coming to an end. We have the 2 of Swords. And then we have the 7 of Hearts, okay? So I think that this this really reminds me of a double bind. A double bind is when someone presents you with a situation in which both options are kind of difficult for you to accept, and they're maybe not positive situations. So a double bind is like a very toxic, manipulative technique that narcissists use, but also marketers use, people in power use, in order to make us feel like choosing between 2 bad options is actually like a good choice for us. And that can cause a lot of emotional and nervous system strain. And so I think that you're in the stages of letting that go. I think it's a big pattern that you've been addressing in your life, possibly for up to 15 years since Pluto entered into Capricorn. And then we have the King of Trees. There was an overwhelming figure in your life. There's Pluto in Capricorn. There was an overwhelming figure in your life. This could have presented as many people. But I do feel like now I can be more blunt. For Cancers, the issue has been being trampled by other people, oppressive energies or hurtful energies, or getting stuck in a situation with someone who had wielded much more power than you had. And so it was difficult. Lots of heartbreak, lots of difficult moments. I do feel like this was the reality for many Cancers with that Pluto transit in the 7th house. And for some of you, this was an internal process where you had to heal the heart, but yeah, definitely Page of Angels. So this comes up. This is very nice. This is giving me shivers. So no matter how difficult your life was, Cancer, for the last 15 years, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I know many of you guys had wonderful highs and wonderful moments, but there was some strain. And like I said, it's all a spectrum. But here we have the Page of Angels, and these are your guardian angels that had come in. And I'm being figurative when I say guardian angels. I know some of you guys believe in them, and that's wonderful. You do. But this is guardian angels, people, interactions that were coming into your life and presenting you with insight and help along the way, messengers coming into your life and helping. So you've been through the whole gamut of dynamics with despotic individuals and situations. And now, and even though some of those times were really hard, pricking at your emotions and your heart, there was this messages or messengers that were coming to help you and elevate you. And then we have the Lovers, which is Gemini. Okay. We have Lovers, Gemini. It's not necessarily the sign of Gemini. And there's Capricorn moving forward. Don't worry, Pluto's not coming with you. Actually, for the next 9 months, Pluto will be still hanging around in Capricorn. So not to scare you, but I think that dynamic is past, and as Venus moves into this new phase, it's a little bit different. I have a feeling that for many of you, and I'm not picking on anyone, or I'm not trying to stereotype or anything, but I think that for a lot of you moving forward, there's going to be presentation of close relationships, but also the fight to free yourself of relationships in which that despotic quality happens, and that comes through your dependence on or willingness to accept that behavior from other people. So it's a deconstruction of that suppressive energy. And then we have the Two of Wands, the Two of Stars. And so I think that you'll be presented with certain options moving forward in which you'll decide about how you want to choose to live. This is I think a 9-month moment of proving yourself, proving what you have learned, proving your lived experience. And I think you will be presented with options about what to choose in your relationships or how to move forward in relation to other people in your life. And then we have the Ten of Swords. You have to be ready to let people go. That's the strong message here. You have to be ready to let people go. You have to be ready to move on, move past situations. And I think that for you, that's going to be somewhat tough at times or difficult at times. I think that you are going to feel Five of Stars, Five of Wands. There's a certain degree of you have to come over yourself to be really ready to let it go and move forward in situations. You have to be really ready to let certain people go. This doesn't mean, I really strongly feel that these people are not people in your life who are here now. I think that there's going to be people who come into your life in the next 9 months who are going to be demanding. And because so much is happening for you in the 10th house and in the 2nd house, this could be career related, where someone's very overbearing, someone's very demanding from you, and you're going to be put in the position of choice in which you need to decide where to go with things and what to accept. So it's going to be a challenge. You're up for a challenge. And then remember, love makes the difference. Love can help heal past hurts and provide a sense of security, self-worth, and importance. And it's that self-worth that I think I'm noticing here. And then the outcome is the Tower, the ego. And I like the ego here in this message. And this is all about you letting go of holding on to inappropriate things for too long because you have compassion or love or sentiment towards it. So this isn't, not everyone will experience the same intensity of this transit, but the lesson is definitely here. How much are you willing to put up with before you pull the plug? So I think that you should take a page out of your Aquarian friends' playbook and be a little bit more willing to discriminate and be ready to cut ties, sever ties in situations that are not forthcoming for you. So it's a 9 months of being strong for yourself. And I think from that will come great financial improvement. And I think social status. I think that you get a bad reputation, but you lower yourself by holding on to individuals that are not helpful for you. And so by your status and your reputation and your financial circumstances will improve as you let these people go. And I really want to stress that I think these are new people that will present in your life, and they will become very important very quickly. And the challenge will present itself, and you're going to have to say, you know, this is not the right situation for me. It's going to be tempting. That's I think the hang up. Okay. So next sign. This is good so far, but I can never tell which readings you guys like and which ones I do. I like this reading. Okay, so we have Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising Libra. Hi, Libras. Let's take a look at your oracle card. I do want to pick an oracle card. So far, they've been on point. Very, very on point. So let's try again with Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So we have look at your pattern in relationships. It requires inner strength to recognize that you need to change or modify your behavior. Look at your pattern. I've also been getting certain downloads for Libra. Specifically, what does it, I think that your need to consolidate or your need to bring everything on an even playing field is doing you injustice and is taking up your time. So Libras are all about balance, as we know, that's the stereotype. But I think in social situations or in living life, that kind of thing, I think you're putting so much emphasis on bringing harmony into your surroundings that you're spending more time on creating harmony than just making a mess. So be a little bit more messy moving forward, Libra. But let's take a look at where this conjunction and where Venus is right now. And it's in your 11th house. Yeah. So it's, for example, you're in a social situation and you have a lot of different friends. And this is about maintaining appearances with certain friends who you know are not good for you, or turning a blind eye to the bad behavior of friends who you know are not treating others well. I think you're going to be presented with a lot of these dynamics. I think it's probably connected to 2015 and 2019. And I think the big moments moving forward for your social life will be 2026 and 2027. So whatever starts here is going to sort of expand into the next 3 years, 4 years. And so it really is a choice about finding your position in a bigger social system and not trying to make nice. I am also picking up on, for Libra's, exhaustion from trying to be everything for everyone. So I think that it's also an issue of that. So make sure you're not doing it. Let's pick your tarot cards. So the first card represents kind of where we're starting, and we have the Empress, the conjunction. So admired by all. This is Venus, your ruling planet, of course. And so at where we find you is beautiful as always in the center of things, admired by all. But behind the scenes, I think you're exhausted. I think you're tired of compromising. I think you're tired of bringing others to compromise. And I think on the surface, you're still beautiful, and you're always beautiful, and you're always bringing that energy. However, I think that it's wearing on you inside. I think it's just a strain for you on the inside. And so moving forward, just from this card alone and what I see, right away I'm getting a strong message for Libra, is that I think that it's going to be about letting things go, letting people go, letting relationships be messy, telling more people what you think, and being more discriminating towards others. Okay, so discriminating, I mean when someone's being ASSHOLE, not turning a blind eye to that behavior when you see them being that way to others or to you or anyone else, right? So we have 3 of Trees. That's like the 3 of Wands. The only thing about this, are you guys okay with the cards having like different, you guys, this is a famous deck, so 4 of Cups, 4 of Hearts. Are you guys okay with the names of the cards? So yeah, I feel like 3 of Trees is 3 of Pentacles. Sorry, not 3 of Wands. I just feel like you've been everything to everyone, and you've been shortchanging yourself in the process. This is the phase we're just finishing now. And I think that you've been trying to maintain work at a particular pace. You want work to continue, and we're looking for patterns in relationships. And I think that you've been quiet on situations that you would probably do best to speak on and address, and I think that that would be a better solution for you. The next message is the Queen of, you're going to be around Queen of Swords. I love this for you right now. So I know this is you, but I think this is another person, and someone's going to rub off on you. This is why I say I love it. It's like having the friend who is so blunt, having a Samantha friend from Sex and the City, that friend who is so vicarious, so energetic in a particular way, bringing out a certain side of you. Now, this person isn't like Samantha. This person, well, maybe a little bit, but this is a person who is has very strong boundaries, has a very, like an Aquarian type, like don't mess with me. If you cross your boundaries, you're out of here. There's none of that integrative quality that you're trying to maintain. So I think you've stepped into this energy, because this is the past. You've stepped into this energy as well, in terms of awareness of this. But I think you've had a person around you who's been that way, rubbing off on you also. So someone who's just not going to put up with things, and you're really learning a lot from them, and they're rubbing off on you. And then we have the Queen of Hearts. So you've been trying to justify it emotionally, like, I need to be sympathetic, I need to be compassionate. Emotional justification of situations is really funny to me, because people rationalize emotionally situations by saying like, oh, it's my heart, da 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 da. So you've had a lot of defense mechanisms, but you've been getting hurt doing it. So I think that this is the phase that has just ended of Venus evening star. And so I think that you've been in a phase of refusing to accept, kind of being more blunt, refusing being cutting people out, trying to maintain the status quo at work, and at work but I think that you're learning your lessons, and I think someone around you is deeply influencing you and giving you this kind of edginess, which is really helpful. And I think every single time you've ignored this person, you've gotten hurt. So I think you've really learned your lesson, like, maybe they have a point. Now, you don't have to be cutthroat. You don't have to be like, throw everyone baby with the bathwater out and walk away the next day. You don't have to be that way. But I think that a little bit of that will help you. And I think that work through your self-defense mechanisms that are overly rationalizing sentiment, emotional feelings towards things that is leading you hurt. So in other words, someone's being a jerk to you, and you're like, but I really like this person. You overly are sympathetic to people who don't deserve it, and you keep getting hurt because of it. So I think that's the phase that you've been in, this kind of forgiveness phase. And so moving forward, now this is the fun part. We have the Six of Trees. Oh, generosity. So I think that you're going to funnel or channel your love, or you really have a desperate need for, not desperate, but a nice need for love and sharing. So I think it's going to come through in a material way. So there's going to be financial generosity coming from you. And then we have the universe, which is the world and expansion. And so I think that you're going to probably change your environment in the next 9 months a little bit. You might go for a trip far away, or at least that's what the aspiration is. And I think that you're going to put a lot of effort towards bringing kindness to the people around you. So prioritize your priorities, reorganize, create a new hierarchy of your priorities and set them in alignment. And I think that it's really about removing yourself from toxic environments with toxic people and saying, all right, I'm going to actually now reinforce positive patterns with positive people in my life. And so very quickly you will turn to those healthy, positive people to build yourself up again. Because I think that you've been just choosing the wrong company, and I think you've been overly sympathetic to them. Okay, so there is some kind of upset that's around the corner for you in a short time. And I think that maybe you've been holding on to the past up till this point because you sensed that something was coming. This does not mean end of the world tragedy, but it is going to be something that you're going to want other people to rely on. So such as emotional support, that kind of thing. And I do think that you're going to find in that moment that you don't actually need them, and that's going to feel very freeing for you. So in other words, I think part of your keeping up appearances with people really had to do with you sensed that something was coming. And I think that when it does happen, and this happens in life to all of us, but this is a significant event, I think you're going to realize that those people were not going to be helpful because of what you know about them, of what what it is anyway. So you're going to be realizing that you're a better sympathetic listener to yourself if there's no one who's positive around you. I'm not saying there is no one who's positive, but you're going to really learn that relationship with yourself. And then we have, that's going to be the working. See, it seems like a sad thing. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but that's the step that's going to actually lead you to have an extremely open heart, because it's so freeing when you're not dependent on other people for emotional support to embrace yourself. And this can manifest as a relationship for some of you. The King of Hearts for me is always a sign of some significant interest, but it comes out of you because when you're no longer trying to satisfy people who are not emotionally present in your life, and you are self-sustaining that way, you're like, oh, I can take care of myself emotionally, then that attracts a similar vibration of someone else. And you're more confident, you bring that love out from within your own heart, that generosity, that zest for adventure. And I think that that's going to lead you to have like-minded people around you. So a lot more nice people coming into your life. And remember, with most astrological transits, we're looking at really beautiful things. So this is an advancement for you. Every 8 years, there's a cycle of friendships and relationships and personal advancement that's beginning in the social sphere of your life. And so that's a long transit through the most of your life in which there's this repeat pattern of improving your relationships with other people. So this is yet another new beginning of that. Okay. Very beautiful. And then you have the Knight of Angels, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. And so this is also another like strong air sign that's around you. Great at critical thinking, great at the mind. And I think that this person also is helping you to be this person's fiercely independent. This is my Aquarian card, the Knight of Angels. Like, so when I see it, I think Aquarius. It doesn't have to be, but the personality of Aquarius is here. You know, the I will be alone if there's no one who can compliment me, like the one who chooses that in a heartbeat. Aquarians aren't very good at making nice, or they're not necessarily interested in making nice or appeasing the collective. And so I think you're going to have that sort of energy. It's going to reflect you a little bit more. Again, you're never going to go into the extreme like screw you and everybody else sort of attitude, but I think you're going to have that a little bit more moving forward, and a couple different relationships or friendships that are emerging alongside that. This just flipped out, so let's use it as your outcome card, which I love. This is the Sagittarian Temperance card. In this deck, it's called the Acceptance, and this is the harmony, the connection, the fusion. And I think this is the pattern of you can still be your kind, forgiving self, Libra, but you can also have that more demanding side to your personality here. Okay, so I hope this helps. I hope this gave you some food for thought. And now we're going to move on to the next sign. You guys tell me how you are liking this, if you have any Libra transits in your chart. We're in another heat wave here in Canada. We've had so many heat waves. I've never remembered a summer that was this hot. It's we've had 30-degree weather Celsius, which is, you have to convert that. I've never seen that in my lifetime. We've had like 4 heat waves of like that type of weather. It's been super hot. But we've gotten some rain, so that's actually really good as well. Okay, so hold on. I closed my screen to see you guys, and now I can't bring it back up. There we go. Okay, so next sign. I'm going to just look in the comments. Hi, everyone. Okay, so we have Capricorn next. Interesting signs coming up. I can really feel the new energy sort of coming in. Okay, so I'm going to just switch it to the Capricorn here. And okay, so Capricorn, I'm just going to foreshadow this. We're talking about your 8th house. Okay, so, and this happens for you every 8 years. In 2007, 2015, we've had these inferior conjunctions within like 5 degrees of today, so it's all happening together. Okay, so here is your message. These cards don't have like the text isn't like super clear, so it's hard for me to see unless I look. So we have miracles and blessings. Everything is a gift. Oh, look at this, gifts. Capricorns like gifts. There we go. So we have miracles and blessings for Capricorns. I like this in the 8th house. So 8th house, the other side of 8th house, as you guys may know, is the sharing of resources. So gifts definitely falls into that. So the conjunction here is in the 8th house. And so 8-year pattern of your relationships towards other people. In the last 9 months, I've noticed that that has really come up as a theme. In fact, honestly, it's been a theme in your life for since COVID started, this emphasis and de-emphasis on personal relationships. Like for Capricorn readings for the last 3 years, there's been this focus on moving towards a relationship with someone or people in your life, re-emphasizing it, and then sort of being really drawn away from those relationships for other things you want to pursue. Capricorns spend a lot of time in the pursuit of their behaviors or actions or the things that they do. So it takes a lot of time for you, commitment, to apply towards the things you're doing, and this is where a lot of your success comes from. And so everything takes a hit because you do have that type of hyper focus. And so here in the 8th house, this is integrating possibly the things that are most valuable to you with other people around you, and forming relationships or making changes in order to adapt and find that common ground with others. So the possessions, the material possessions that are the most valuable to you are then shared here with others in the form of gifts. Okay, so we have the 10 of Hearts again showing up. So we find you in a very peaceful place, a positive place at the beginning of this transit. It's likely that some kind of cycle of change that began in 2015 or even 2019, where significant change happened in your life, has now mellowed out. So there was some kind of significant change event about 2015 or 2019, and now you have integrated it into your life in whatever way. And so now you are moving on from that situation. Okay, so let's take a look at your cards. So this is the Hesperus. This is the phase that we are just leaving. Let's just take a look at what it represents. So we have the 5 of Swords and the 6 of Trees. To me, it sounds like fighting and you being very generous to people. And my assumption or my intuition is telling me that maybe that generosity was not received well or understood, and that was the problem. Now, by the way, when I'm talking about the past, I'm not trying to make it sound like everyone, and this is a message for all the signs, I'm not trying to make it sound like the past was so terrible. I'm trying to troubleshoot what is the thing that we are leaving behind, that we're moving on from and working out of. So we all have at any point in time, positive and negative events that come up in our life. So I'm not trying to make it sound like we all were struggling and we were all victims, but this was the nature of the problem that you were contending with, because there's always something to work on. So it's a more of a proactive approach at looking at things. So yeah, it just feels like generosity may have been on point, but there was a lack of fundamental understanding between yourself and the people around you. And then the outcome card here is the 2 of Trees. That created a lot of instability. That's interesting that this card came up, because remember how I said in the beginning of your reading how you were what's the word, going back and forth between personal relationship and application of your time and focus. This it's because it kept on faltering, it kept on breaking, and you kept on saying to yourself, this is a better use of my time. So you kept on trying to create balance. And externally, maybe there was a lack of resources to help you maintain that balance, if that makes sense. So here are the cards. We have the King of Pentacles, King of Trees. This is you. I think many of you have achieved a great deal of financial security in the last while, especially the last 9 months. And then we have, I know it's been a very difficult time financially for people, so I know that's relative. And then we have the Knight of Angels. I feel as though you've been challenged a lot by people in your environment. I think you've been financially prosperous for the most part, or materially prosperous, but there seems to be an aggressive energy around you that has, in one way or another, really been challenging you on some things. Now let's take a look at the other side of the heart. The devil popped out, but I put him back into the deck. Okay, so we have the Three of Hearts. Now this is the new phase, the phosphorus phase. It's likely that you're willing to reconnect with someone, and Four of Trees. Okay, so this is a pattern of really wanting to build upon what you have. A lot of the transits, let's see. Yeah, because a lot of the transits are in your lower chart. Look at this, Pluto, and this hasn't really changed in years, but you really do have an emphasis of big planets in the lower house. So you're really prone to build foundation right now, Capricorn. Your life is going to gear towards building foundation and setting up yourself. But then there's this Three of Hearts, a willingness to open to the past. Maybe you've changed your mind on certain people after having certain relationships and realized that your relationships with other people weren't as bad, or maybe you learned something about them, so maybe you become more open to welcoming them in. And then we have the Six of Angels. I think that is a time in which you're going to really want to be autonomous and move on from things at times. I don't feel like you've been emotionally dragged through the mud or hurt, but I do think that you've been annoyed. I think that wasteful energy is annoying energy for you, Capricorn, and I think that you've been annoyed, and I think that you're not willing to really put up with that energy moving forward. Now let's see the next card. We have the Seven of Angels, Seven of Swords, that's Moon in Aquarius. And then we have the Eight of Hearts, which is Saturn in Pisces. So I see a very self-protective energy here. I think you're willing to connect with the past, but I feel like a lot of time moving forward over the next 9 months, you're going to be very careful. I don't think, hopefully, that this person caused you a lot of damage in your life. If they have, I'm sorry. But I don't think that for the majority of you, this was really detrimental. I think you just were shaken up by those events. And when you were shaken up by those events, you've decided to become much more careful. And so I think these cards are coming up in the future because I think you learned your lesson from the abruptness of this person's behavior. And so you've now begun to protect yourself, or you've begun to be very strategic. It's not easy to get to know you at this point, or at least right now. And I think you're happy about it. I think that this is a gift you're giving yourself. I think it's a good thing. Remember, it's the 8th house, so it is a pattern of it's an intense pattern. Eighth house is ruled by Pluto, and I think that, and Mars, and I think that it's just a little bit of this is what I have to do to. It's the thing that you know you need to do in order to have a better quality of life, and I think that the pestering, annoying energy that was coming from someone that was being very destructive or destructive towards you is really not going to fly. I think that's why you're getting these cards. I think it's going to take a lot for someone at this time over the next 9-month period to convince you to open up. And, you know, I think you're willing to let the past in, but if I were to meet you, I would have to be on my best behavior and really convince you to be friends and make that connection right now, or anyone, right? So this is a time in which I think you're going to be a little bit careful around other people. And we have you need rest, right? That's what it looks like. I think 4 of Angels, 4 of Swords. So you just need rest from the situation. And again, I don't think this is an overly dramatic event. I think that this was literally an annoying event in your life where you recognized how much somebody's destructive behavior can have an impact on you. And you just was like, whoa, you know, I need to be careful around stuff like that. I think that's what it is. The instability that your environment caused, you were like, you are not having it. You were not willing to accept it. Okay? Okay. That was fun. That was the energies are very distinct today. We are reading under the Cazimi, so this is really fun for me to explore your guys' energies. And hi everyone, thanks for watching. So next sign that is coming up. Get yourself a drink, get yourself some tea. It's Sunday, we're chilling, and we're reading tarot and astrology. Okay, Taurus. Okay, good. I kind of was thinking about your sign earlier, and I was wondering when you were going to come up. So first, let's pick an oracle card for you guys. Okay. So we have the heart of the matter. There is more going on than meets the eye. Recognize what it is all about. So I'll give you guys some time to really appreciate this card. Okay. So now I'm going to just switch the chart. 2 earth signs back to back. Woohoo! Way to go, Taurus. Okay, so let's take a look at the astrology, just briefly give it a little nod. So for you, this is in the 4th house. I think that the 4th house is very significant for your sign. I think it's very deeply resonant. I mean, we all know Taurus in the house is like a stereotype, right? Lounging at home and relaxing. This is an 8-year pattern, so whatever happens in relation to your home or family life, it's in alignment with things that may have happened before. At about 2007, 2015, and conversely, the energy may have grown to 2011 and 2019. And so there's going to be another iteration of that manifestation energy in 2027, right? 2027, sorry. And so so whatever happens now in relation to family or home matters will continue to grow for the next 4 years and develop. And I think that I'm just thinking, I think that there's this, there's a comfort here. There is a home here. I'm picking up on different energies. There's a lot coming in for Taurus. I think that there's a lot of sentimentality towards the past that is coming up for you right now. So a lot of sentiment towards your neighborhood or the home you grew up in or your family, your childhood family. I think that there's a lot of you who are going to invest a lot in your family over the next 9 months. I think that many of you are going to like some of you are going to take on taking care of your parents, or some of you are going to just really make some decisions that seem counterintuitive in terms of modern goals and ambitions. And I think that you're going to really try to fulfill your need for home and family, whether to your parents or to your kids. But I do have a sense that this is something to do with lineage, something to do with like older folks or people that were behind you and so or before you. And I think that there's this, how do you say this? You might find yourself explaining it a lot to people moving forward, because I don't think that it's going to be something that others recognize or is easy for them to understand. Does that make sense? But for you, it's going to make a lot of sense. So you're going to be making some decisions that are going to be very fulfilling. You're going to be like, this is what matters to me. This is what I'm going to achieve. And in terms of a longer trajectory, and this is true for any sign, but for this reading specifically, it feels right. I have a feeling that this may continue for like a decade. This might continue a series of events that last even 14 years. And then so whatever you're choosing now, Taurus, has some very far-reaching consequences. Again, not this month, but like over the next 9 months. Okay. So you get a lot of what you want to come in. It's almost like, yeah, you get what you want to come in, Taurus, and then you get what you want to come in, and then the way you invest what has come in, it leaves other people puzzled, but you, but you really understand. You really understand why you chose the road you have. And then we have the Four of Hearts. Okay. And then we have, oh, look at this. Some of the cards are turned up. That's okay. I'll just pick these cards. And the Five of Wands. I feel like you too have been dealing with relationships that are unsatisfactory. Similar cards, but in a different combination to others. I just feel like maybe you had relationships with people that were not fulfilling or weren't what they cracked up to be. I have a feeling that there were relationships that had yielded for you a lot of strain and stress. That you maybe, like, this is an example, not true for everyone, but some people really want a relationship, right? Some people really, really want a relationship, and they feel incomplete without it. So much so that they take a relationship with someone who is not fulfilling their needs, and then they're more miserable in the relationship than they were without it. And so this Four of Hearts, Five of Stars, it's almost like you found yourself pushed into a situation that wasn't really fulfilling or good. And so you were disenchanted by it. And I think that right now, that's why I'm picking up on that you're making your decisions for what you truly want because of disenchantment or the stress that someone else produced in your life. We have Eight of Stars. It may have even ended on a positive note. Remember, this is the last phase, the last 9 months or so. And then positive note and common ground, like a mutual acceptance. Even that person could still be in your life, or you're still in a relationship, but there's definitely a change of the heart. This is a person you may have at one point put on a pedestal, or people that you've put up on a pedestal. And now that time has come around, it doesn't hit the spot in the same way as you do. This does not mean that this is your primary relationship. This could be a friendship. There was definitely, their behavior was stressing you out. It wasn't good. You made up and you were okay, but I don't think you think the same way about it. So let's give an example. You moved to Toronto because your best friend lived there. You're from Vancouver. You moved to Toronto and your best friend was there. And I remember I saw this video about how a girl went to New York to visit her friend, and they went out to the restaurant, and she was like in a relationship, and the friend pushed her into going out with some men to a club, and the friendship broke down. It was like really messy. That's what this situation reminds me of, in that that friend was not as close as you wanted it to be, or you thought it was, and maybe it ended up on a good thing, but you never looked at that person the same way again. And what's more, I think that the last phase really prompted you to want more or identify the people in your life who are so important. And I think that's where your heart is heading. Okay. Home is where the heart is, right? And so once again, a cycle begins. 7 of Swords. I think you're going to leave a situation, or you're aiming to leave a situation. Yeah, definitely 6 of Angels, 6 of Angels, 6 of Swords, 7 of Swords. I think you're tactfully trying to remove yourself out of a particular situation. I think that you're maybe the person you're around is just not what they cut up to be. Maybe the job, maybe the workplace, or maybe the or school or something like that. It's just not what it should be. And I think you're very clear on that today with the conjunction. And I think moving forward, there's a separation. There's a freeing, eradication, removal. And secretly, though, I don't think it's really out in the open. Or if it is, you're very careful to say as to like what your intentions are. And it brings me back to the card, the heart of the matter. There is more going on than meets the eye. Recognize what is all about. And it's so funny because I read the card for you guys and then I forget about it. Then we talk about astrology, then we talk about tarot. And by the time, somewhere in the tarot reading, I'm like, that's right, that was this card. And this has happened with every single reading. So it's been kind of a fun thing. It's like, oh, that's right. It's the heart of the matter. Like you're really searching for your core desires or needs. And then we have Queen of Pentacles. Look at you. So this could be you, Taurus, but this could be someone else. But with the Queen of Trees, to me, this symbolizes one of the nice interpretations of the Queen of Trees or Queen of Pentacles is that she sits there and she waits for people to come to her. But this does not mean that you're waiting for people to come to you. I think what it may suggest is that you are actually waiting for the right opportunity. So maybe this is a period of moving forward, but you're also waiting for the right dynamic to come in. So you know what you're looking for, you know? It's like buying a house because it's the 4th house where this is happening. So it's like buying a house. It's, you have to kind of wait for it, wait for the right opportunity. Okay, so here is your action cards for the upcoming phase. The new beginning, Uranus, and remember that's squaring this position. But remember, pay attention to the kite that I told you guys about at the end of August. I think Uranus, it's going to pop off. It's going to pop off. And then we have the 3 of Swords. Okay, so I think you're going to get sentimental about things. I think you're putting yourself out on the limb in terms of what you want. You're very sentimental people, Tauruses, Sun, Moon, and Rising, sentimental people. And so you're one of those signs that does really, is really, really tolerant of other people. And so that 3 of Angels, 3 of Swords is not suggesting you're about to go through some heartbreak, but as you're being more abrupt and moving forward and trying to break out on your own or initiate in your own way, I think that you're going to be drawn back to like reminiscing about the past or feeling bad about the past, but you're definitely, your intention is to move on. Your intention is to move forward. This reminds me of Kramer in Seinfeld entering the door and kind of like breaking in and like stumbling all over the place. You don't have to be perfect in this 9-month period. So this whole 9-month period is like walking through that door. I don't think it's going to be dainty, let's say it, but just live your life, and I think it's going to be really fulfilling, and you're going after what you need, and I think you need to keep on top of that, and I think things are coming in to help you, so definitely good. And then we have a decision at the end of all this. There's possibility that something from the past will come back at the end of this iteration, so in 9 months time. It does feel like it's a possibility that something might come in and kind of like re-enter, and then you'll have to decide about what you truly want. If it's not the exact same person or situation, it might be something that really mirrors it. So you're going to fight all this time only to be tested again with another option of a similar nature. So get ready for it. But all that hard work seems to be in vain if you should choose to go back to that old situation, right? So right away my bias is like, nay, not a good idea. Try something else. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next sign. I feel like we're making good progress. It is a very slow reading today because it's a big spread. Usually when I will do these spreads for you guys, I'm going to not do them live, but because it's the Cazimi, I just really wanted to get this out there. How much we're halfway through. Hey, congratulations. So that's good. I'm really enjoying it, by the way. You guys can hear my voice. It's a lot of strain. Hi everyone, how are you guys doing today? I'm just looking in the comments. So make sure to like and comment if you don't mind, because that helps to get the video seen. Okay, so let's see. Or if you like the message that I gave you, please let me know in the comments. Okay, so, no, there's 7. That makes sense. We're not halfway there, but we'll read this. This card's really dirty. I don't know why. Okay, Pisces. You dirty Pisces. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's get weird, people. I love Pisces readings. You guys know I love Pisces readings. I think that there was someone who had dedicated, it's called Pisces TV. She had such a cool channel. And like, low-key, I kind of like admired that. I'm like, I could just have a channel dedicated to Pisces. So fun. It'd be such a weird place. I mean, like, you guys wouldn't recognize me there because I'd be such a different way. My Pisces side is weird. Okay, so Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. Okay, so this is happening in your 6th house. We'll talk about the astrology in a minute, but let's pick you guys a nice oracle card for inspiration. So you get show simple acts of kindness. You're so good at that. A simple act of kindness can energize you and bring happiness to those around you. Remember those comments and likes that I was asking for? There we go. Simple acts of kindness. I'm just kidding. But this is going to be the energy that you're stepping into. I like this. But I think you're going to be also receiving kindness. You have Saturn in your 1st house, and it's still working its way through the 1st degrees of the 1st house. And then it's going to move forward later in the year. But you still are in for like a long haul, 2 years of Saturn in Pisces. And I've talked to you guys about that quite a bit already, but I haven't been spending so much time with each individual sign. That's going to also change moving forward. But just the way it's been. So the thing for Pisces that I would say, like right off the bat, is you're being with Saturn in your 1st house in Pisces. I think that there is this feeling of how do you say this? Harsh environments, social environments, or people around you. Like people don't really get you, or suddenly things are not as aligned as they usually are, or you may feel very separate from people that you really care about, those kinds of things. However, I think what this means, and what I'm picking up intuitively from this whole situation, is that you are experiencing love from particular people in your life who are going to be acting like nurses. I'm not saying like you need medical attention, but I'm saying that like you're going to be provided kindly love and care by people around you, and it's going to be very helpful and healthy and just good. And so I think that this is a response to Saturn and Pisces. It's your good luck. I mean, Jupiter is your ruling planet in both types of astrology, and Jupiter is well aspected in Taurus right now. So yeah, and this is like, could be sisters, actually, brothers. I'm brought to the 3rd house where Jupiter is. So it could be your siblings. I always call this the cohort. I kind of moved on from siblings because for some people, siblings aren't really the answer to, but cohort means people your own age, like cousins, friends, childhood friends. So there's going to be that supportive energy there for you as well. The conjunction is in your 6th house. So this is going to be, and this happens every 8 years in this area of the chart. And so once again, this is going to be a pattern of just like how you do things, how you interact with life, how you interact with the world around you, how you organize yourself, and how you just make things work. Okay, sorry, I have these yoga blocks. I sit on the floor doing this. Hey, I've always done this, and I have these yoga blocks. So if you're hearing this, you're seeing them, me adjust them here. You can see. So that's what I'm doing. It's like under my knees and stuff in different ways to make myself comfortable. Sitting for a long time like this can be weird. Also changes with time, right, girls? Okay, and guys. So we all know about this. But anyway, I love floor sitting. I think it's great. The 6th house, yeah. So patterns, Pisces, for yourself in your environment. And it's going to be very much about how the nature and the space of your environment. Now, let's differentiate between the two different things I said, because I think it's important. So I think that, so the 1st house is you. It's not your social environment, but the way you're feeling the world around you right now, Pisces, is a little bit alienated. It's a little bit, you feel a little bit isolated, a lonely baloney in circumstances. So this isn't that maybe people are being harsh with Pluto there, but I think the point is that whoever is around you is not hitting the spot for you inside your heart. And so here, this is different. This is more like acquaintances or people on the fly who you see on a regular basis. They're not really friends, but they are sort of friendly. What I see for you here is there's a supplement coming into your life, and I think it's in your 3rd house, which is that sibling cohort thing that we were talking about. But I think that there's another layer that's emerging here of positive social interactions, people with whom you're not close with, but with people with whom you interact on a regular basis. And you're going to have these nice moments with them, you know? Okay, so let's see the next message. Okay, so now let's take a look at your tarot. We start off for Pisces with 7 of Pentacles, 7 of Trees. So Saturn, right? Saturn is such a big deal for you guys in your 1st house. This is, and I think many of you already know this is a time of waiting. This is a time of biding your time. This is a time of like just waiting for a particular outcome to come in a certain situation. Then we have the Page of Angels, Page of Swords. And then we have the turnaround, which is the Hanged Man. So I think that people have left you waiting or waiting on red for a long time, READ. People have been making you wait. There's this alienation that I feel like you're going through right now with other people. And I do think that you have people near you that have come in or are coming in that are very supportive and sympathetic. But it's like you and them against the world sort of feeling. It's coming from the inside. But we have this feeling of delays from other people, not getting the answer that you need, and feeling just very isolated because of their behavior. Now let's take a look at the 5 of Hearts. Yeah, disappointment that people were not the way that they could have been. And then we have the Emperor. So you were very proactive with this. And I know I've seen this in your readings coming through. You've been a firecracker, but even a firecracker gets tired sometimes. So I think that what we're reflecting on and what we're remembering about the last 9 months is really the fact that it did cause you disruptions. This passive aggressive energy, it feels like. Passive aggressive energy is like people not really wanting you to be successful. People kind of wanting to hold you back, not with direct aggression, but somehow trying to not provide you support or to be resistant. And no matter how much positivity you brought in, I don't think it was met with a good reception from some people. That was the issue. And so you were very proactive, but pushing ahead and being proactive is very time consuming, so, or energy consuming. So I think you're possibly tired. And 5 of stars, and frustrating. Like, it would be so much easier if people just were more compliant, if people were just more agreeable, if the conditions under which you were dealing with things were more harmonious. And so you've become, this is a conservative card, the 7 of Pentacles. It means that you're not really trusting your environment, Pisces. And I think that you're not really trusting your environment, 7 of Pentacles, but you have some goals ahead of you now. And so you've changed your strategy. You're a little bit less open to others. You're not, just like Taurus, not so willing to let other people in. I think that their bad behavior, this reminds me of Capricorn's reading, their behavior isn't necessarily deeply hurtful. I think maybe disappointed, but not hurt. And I think that you're in some way more inclined to set a path for yourself, to empower yourself in and be more self-reliant, I think. But that's a personal choice here. And then, so this is the morning star phase that we're going to explore now. So we have, you're integrating everything that you have going on. I do think you have wonderful people around you to support you. And I think you're spreading that positivity again. So spreading positivity, spreading a positive message, bringing light to the darkness, not taking it all on. Also, Saturn in your first house actually helps you to be a lot more resistant. And so Saturn in Pisces' first house is actually very helpful. And that includes the sun sign and the moon sign as well. You may have noticed that you're not as hurt as you may have been by the events that have been happening before March, when Saturn entered your first house, Pisces. Okay. So now let's see so you're not internalizing, you're more annoyed, I think, than hurt. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune is coming up for you, which is a breakthrough luck event. This is Jupiter. So Jupiter is in your 3rd house. Look in your community for luck and opportunities, things close to home. I would say, like, if you live in a small town, look around your town. If you live in a big city, look in your suburb. So it's something close where you don't have to reach out far. And then you have the Jupiter, like opportunity, growth, potential, expansion. There's something very lucky coming. And I think it comes in the right time. You know, when sorry if I'm being a little, I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm actually reflecting a lot on what I'm seeing. And so what I'm feeling from this is it's in the perfect time. Like, you realize this about your environment in the perfect time for the new things to come in, which means that the old things that would have dragged you down are not coming forward with you. And then we have the universe card, which is the world, some trip that you may be planning in the next 9 months, and the 7 of hearts. You have a very big imagination. That's how I would read moving forward. I have a feeling that Saturn is allowing you to be less well, I'm not less caring, but like care less about bad situations in your life. And so therefore, I think you're very excited about the future. I think you should go after adventure right now. I think good things are coming into your life, so be careful, be ready to bring them on. And the 7 of Hearts can be read as a bad card sometimes, but because everything else is so positive, I have a feeling that the 7 of Cups actually represents your big ambitions and big dreams. So keep dreaming, Pisces, and make it happen. Let's see the outcome. Okay. And then we have the Knight of Stars. To me, this is an adventurer card, and I think this might be you, a fiery phase of Pisces, really diversifying. Remember, it's the 6th house, so you're diversifying your environment, you're trying different things, broadening horizons, really letting things go if they don't work for you right away, and with the hope of, better prospects in other directions elsewhere. So it's a very cool, calm, and collected Pisces moment in your life, and it's going to last probably up to 2 years. And the cards are saying like good luck in the next 9-month phase. Good luck is coming in. You should not hold back on opportunities, all of that stuff. So Pisces, I hope you like this reading, and I hope you're excited about your future. And now let's take a look at the next sign. We are halfway point, so this is going to easily be 4 hours. Wow. Okay. I got up super early to do this with you guys because I know it's going to get hot very soon. It's already getting a little hot and it's only 9:30. But we're going to make it. We avoided the heat wave. Okay. So next sign. Hey girl, hey. So now we have 6 signs to go. Aquarius, Virgo, or Scorpio hasn't been done yet. So here we go. There's Virgo. There's my girls. How's it doing? How's it going? Hey girl, hey. Virgos, let's do this. Okay, so speaking of the witch, speaking of the devil. Okay, so let's pick an oracle card. Okay. I like when those signs come up last because I have definitely less energy than I did in the first start. I mean, it's 2 hours already in. I still am fine, but it's like a little pep. It's a little shot of espresso right here. Okay, so let's pick a oracle card. We have act as if your partner is here. Whether you have someone in your life or not, act as if they were with you. So you will always consider them. Okay. So act as if they were here. For the Virgin Virgos, how about that? Okay. So act as if, and if they're there with you, then treat them nicely, Virgos. Let's take a look at the astrology. I'm sure it has some kind of meaning once we get into the cards, but okay. So for you, this conjunction is happening in the 12th house, in the depth of the 12th house. That's interesting. And so that makes sense right away in terms of a solo journey, because whether you're in a relationship or not, and I told you guys at the beginning that I've deconstructed this concept of the binary gender, and I'm cisgendered. I'm not, I'm cisgendered heterosexual female. But I think that when you're not afraid of these deconstructions that people are doing, no matter what your gender orientation or expression is, it's cool. Like, it's a cool process. And actually, I've been interested in this topic for since my first degree was in these topics about decolonizing, deconstructing, and all of these things. So this is something I'm very personally interested in. So that's why that binary is kind of problematic. And so in the 12th house, this is interesting because I raised the issue earlier, and I'm a Virgo, if you guys don't know. This is the 12th house energy of this, the self, the deep self, right? Deconstructing the self and deconstructing the bare bones. The deconstruction works with the bare, the whole how do you say this? The outline of what we are, the basic building blocks is the 12th house. I love the 12th house, and I actually think that the 12th house is, I don't like the traditional astrological interpretations of it. I think that there's a lot to do there. I think it's a really wonderful house, and I don't think it's evil or bad or anything. And so in the 12th house for Virgos, it's interesting that you got this card. I'm connecting in my mind the introduction that I did for you guys, this card and the 12th house and what it all means together. And so this does represent Innana or Ishtar, this individual, whether you're male or female, this individual god and the personal transformation. I mean, she emerges in the 12th house, right? Right before sunrise. That's the heliacal rising. And that's also Venus rising in our respect, that Venus will be rising right before sunrise. So your chart in this context, Virgo, is very closely aligned with these representations, right? And so we have this personal, I think, okay, so this is what I think it is. I think this is turning over a new leaf, Virgo, in a very big way. but not so much about the external things, but very much about who you are on the inside. And that will then manifest into other parts of your life. So without too much jibber jabber about this and that, I think that a fiercely independent person and a big transformation. Wait for Lilith. Lilith is in a problematic spot for Virgos because she's going to enter Virgo in the fall. I'm purposely trying to ignore Lilith. We've been talking about her enough. And so in the 12th house, just be careful of getting caught up with regretful people or unnecessary situations. And the other thing for Virgo that really stands out in your chart is Saturn in the 7th house. It is very much similar to Pisces because Pisces and Virgo are on a binary. Saturn in your 7th house is expressing that there is an autonomy from other people and particularly close relationships that are just not adding up. It's a very strong time for you, Virgo, as an individual, whether you're a man or a woman. And it's a personal transformation to chase your destiny. And even though Uranus is squaring these positions, you guys know I love this transit right here so much. And so Uranus is prompting you to make certain changes in your outward life that are going to manifest later. And so you have to allow yourself for both expressions to happen. You have to allow yourself for Uranus to manifest your external life in a particular way, but internally really do some inner work about what really is important for you, because I think you're going to find some wonderful new things that are going to bring you great fulfillment. Okay, so let's see the next message. Sorry if that was a little nerdy. That was a nerdy answer. I'm sorry. It was, but it is that like breakdown, shakedown of the personal self. And I think Virgos will be one of those signs who will really benefit from looking at the cycle as like iterations between 2015, which began the last iteration of this cycle, to 2019, which was some kind of a peaking moment. You asserted yourself in a way that was unlike you. That was very true for me. And then and then now the beginning of a new cycle. So be patient with this. Allow it to emerge, Virgo, this 12th house side of you. The 12th house is kind of the building block of things. And so allow that to form what will become, and don't try to judge it so much. Don't judge it so much into what it's becoming. Okay? Okay, interesting. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords, some kind of communication. Now, I would be unfair to say that in the 12th house, and especially with Lilith there is no enemies hiding around. There is no, ill will directed at you from others. But I think that, I don't think that's the main point. Lilith is always a modifier. It's not like the point of the show. So anyway, so the Ace of Swords, I really strongly want to tell you guys to not articulate things into what they are happening. Allow yourself to step into the energy and become it before you judge it or share with anybody else. I think that's a big message. I think important information is coming to you. Let's find out when we do this side of the heart what that information is. But first, let's take a look at the last 9 months, which is the Six of Stars. And then we have the Queen of Trees. Okay. So you've reached some level of personal success in the last 9 months. So you've achieved something within yourself that was something to do with boundaries and something to do with your ambition. So congratulations. That's in alignment with the astrology. Jupiter is still up in your chart in the 9th house. Uranus is in the 9th house. You should really go for it. The next I don't know, definitely it's a weird time astrologically for the world for the next 10 years. But for Virgos, the astrology is actually quite interesting and even positive. So I think you're hitting your mark on things. I don't think you should be shy of what you're becoming, Virgo. Here is the next message. We have Knight of Pentacles. It's like building the building blocks. This is you adding agency. I do have a feeling that there's people around you who are important for you, Virgo. And I think that there's people around you that are accentuating that productivity or whatever you're achieving on a material level. And then we have the Lovers. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, Moon in Taurus. Okay, so Gemini, I feel like coming into this moment, you have really established yourself. I think you've been very generous with others around you. You have loved the right people in your life. These are probably the best cards I've received for Hesperus phase out of all the signs, and you are the 7th sign I'm reading for. So so no matter how difficult your life has been, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, I have a feeling that comparatively to other people, you've been extremely successful with your life. You've been really, and that success I'm also getting may not look like stereotypes of success, but you have that success within you. And so that's a part of this cycle. You've done the right things. You've done the right things that put your heart at ease. You've done the things that make you feel right. And you've become who you've wanted to be. Maybe this is like the acting as if your partner is there, just really hitting the stride in terms of actions and behaviors. Now, I'm not like a super moralist, like this is how life should be and you should do that. But I am pretty principled on being fair to other people. I think, so outside of all this, I'm not preaching moralism because I think it's subjective. Whoever you are, Virgo, I think you've been doing the things that you think are right or correct or the right thing to do on a higher principle level. And so you're coming into the end of the Hesperus phase fulfilled for having done right by your actions. So congratulations. So sometimes that looks like sacrifice. Sometimes that looks like, not acting certain things out. But I think that that's what I'm seeing here. Okay, and then we have the Ace. Look at you. Look at all these aces coming through right away. Lots of potential change. And 3 of Hearts. There's a welcoming of the past. I think in other words, I think what has led you to now, Virgo, is that you've done things correctly. And in and of itself, it may not have produced for you or yielded the outcome that you wanted. However, you have created for yourself an environment right now in which you are getting externally, you're aligned well to move forward, if that makes sense. Okay, so next card is the Magician. This is Mercury, so this is Gemini and Virgo's card, but since we're talking about Virgo, there you are. So you're really in a prime position to move forward on something, to move ahead, to achieve what you want. And then you have the 5 of Hearts. This is the only negative card that I've pulled so far. And the Queen of Wands. Somebody's competing with you for energy. So I keep on getting this message on, like, algorithm keeps on sending me short form videos about this, about how if somebody is upset with you, it's because you're doing something right. Like they're triggered because you're achieving something. And so this 5 of, and I think this is true for here. I think there's like a competition, there's a energy, and yet this person is here to teach you a positive lesson. This could represent a couple different people, one person who's a challenger and other people who are there to inspire you and support you. But I think that there's this finding your your inner voice, and I think you're about to make some big moves or make some big decisions. Not yet, but I think it's coming up. And I think that you may be disappointed by the fact that certain people are not as supportive or helpful to you, and yet in amid all this, there's someone who's a real bright light, a real bright energy, who's kind and supportive and is giving you by proxy that energy of finding that strength within yourself. So they're helping you with confidence because, you're mirroring them, or you're seeing in them something really inspiring and beautiful. I like that. And then you have the 10 of, look at this, Virgo. This is Mercury in Virgo, but this is in the next 9 months. So what you're setting yourself up for a win. There's some kind of big, and this could be material. This could be home and family. But it's quiet. It's in the 12th house. So just wait and continue to act in your integrity. Listen, I'll tell all signs this, and I've been doing these readings for a long time now. You guys know that. This is just my observation. Because I've been so focused on people and society and how people act and all this stuff and how I act and, all these different dynamics. The one thing that I can really say is when you strip all of the unfortunate events and events that happen in our lives, when you choose to act within integrity towards the things that you want to achieve in a rightful way for you, not some moral, Christian dogmatic ideals, then your life gets really good. So it's not about being good or bad. It's about being there with integrity, right? Or being integral to your core values or your core choices and choosing those. When you can have the will and the fortitude and the stubbornness to maintain that and hold that without being problematic or without drawing yourself into problematic territory, you set yourself up for success. So easier said than done, but when we can maintain composure and ground ourselves, and this is true for all signs, but I think Virgos are really good at this, to be honest. So when you can be that stubborn and maintain that course of action and unwavering focus on right action and correct behavior in circumstances, you set yourself up for success. But it takes a really long time. It's not like instant gratification, like you're nice for a week and then it works. You have to take the highs and the lows with it. I think that's a Virgo thing. But other signs as well, it applies to everyone. I think Virgos are very stubborn that way, and I think they're really good at doing it. And I've seen a lot of Virgos prosper by being just committed to something, a goal or a thing for a long time. So I think that this 9 months is kind of you applying that. So don't waver, Virgo. It doesn't look like you're wavering. And so maintain higher ground. So, okay. High five, Virgo. Okay, next sign. I like this. Okay, so we have Scorpio next. Look at this. Double whammy. Scorpio, Virgo. What a pair. Okay. So first, let's pick an oracle card. Scorpios. I have things to say to Scorpios. Look at this. I have so many things to say to Scorpios. And so many of my clients that have been coming through are Scorpios. And it's been really fun to talk to you guys, I have to say. I don't know if I've told you guys this. I definitely tell clients this all the time because I get nervous. For me, because Scorpio is my rising sign, and then I have several placements in Scorpio as well. Okay, when I get around Scorpios, it's like a 5-year-old kid hanging out with a 10-year-old kid, and I'm the 5-year-old kid. And I want you guys to like me so bad. Every single time. It's like, senpai, notice me. So that's a Scorpio energy for me. I love Scorpio so much. I was just such a fan. I'm a stan of the Scorpio sign. Okay, so first message. Spend some quality time together. It is imperative that we spend quality time with those we are in significant relationships with, listening and talking to each other. Oh, look at this. Quality time. Well, you've been busy, Scorpio, so this is the time for you to kind of relax a little bit. I have good news for you. That's what I need to talk to you about. And we'll talk about more of this in other videos where we have more time to talk about that aspect of the chart. But I really want to highlight this for you guys. The biggest thing for Scorpio, and I know this isn't what we're talking about here, but it connects, is this long-ass transit of the South Node in your first house. You know, the South Node transit, I'm convinced that the South Node transit in your first house is a banger. It's a really, really intense transit of just, and even before that, it's intense. And it shakes up your life in a very like intense way. You become a different person. You become more true like yourself. And so with this conjunction between the Sun and Venus in your 10th house, now some of those changes are going to begin to replicate on the outside in the world at large. And so your relationships with your community, the people that you know, and the people you interact with, you're gaining your energy there. Now, this is an iteration, which means that it began in 2015. The last cycle hit a high point in 2019 and then decompressed after. And so now you're gathering all those lived experiences and you're moving forward to another iteration of the same cycle. So yes, definitely. But in light of this, so each cycle is modified, by all the other transits that are happening. And so the transit that's key, I think, for you in terms of where this is starting now is this South Node. You've had this humbling event in your life for a year and a half, very humbling. And like that always allows us to grow up. And I'm not talking down to you because that's my first house too, right? Because I ascendant Scorpio. So I'm not being like, I'm not being mean. I'm just saying like you've had a humbling event. You've been stripped down. You come to us a humble servant, right? Yeah. Hold on. So let's get into the tarot cards. It's a nice time. So you've been distracted and now you can connect with people that you care about. Okay, so first we have the Force. Leo, the Force, strength. Yay. Okay, so that's the 8th house. I think this is a real time for new beginnings for your social life. I think this is a really, and I don't mean like friends, I mean 10th house stuff. Like it means career, but it also means like your interaction with the world at large, you know, who you are in the world. It's a new beginning, a shift of a new beginning of your position. But first, let's take a look at the last 9 months. And we have the 4 of Stars, which is the 4 of Wands, a big emphasis on home and family, and the 3 of Angels. So you had some heartbreak. That's that humbling event. The 3 of Stars, 3 of Swords can be very helpful, right? So in the first house, South Node transit, it's a very humbling event. It's like it knocks you down and strips you bare and like, you know, leaves you with nothing. There you go. It's, how do you say this? Okay, so this is just an example, but this was what I'm just going to try to illustrate these 2 cards with an example. So 4 of Stars, and this does not mean I'm implying that this happened in your life, but it could have. This is a situation where you have a loving family, you're in a wonderful marriage or partnership, and the heartbreak of it is that some unfortunate aspect of the relationship prevents it from working out. Without fighting, but there's a real regret there. You know, there's just something just not making it work. Or you become really happy within yourself, and then there's something in your life that's just not allowing you to be happy, or there's something that you have to let go of that you really truly love. And this is the past. So this is what I'm talking about just happened over the last 9 months. We're contextualizing here. Okay, so we have the King of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. So a person was very important in your life, possibly. There's also a time of great success. This may have been a choice of the type of life you want to lead, which means that you may have had to choose financial success and prosperity over the last 9 months over personal relationships a lot. That was my first take when I saw your reading. was like, now you're coming back. The priority of love is re-emanating in your life. And then we have the Empress, wife, mother. It feels your role as a mother, a relationship, and a heaviness there. So this does not mean that your relationship broke up. If you're in a relationship, that relationship was probably heavily strained by the decisions you or both of you had made. If you're single, then you had chosen to weigh yourself down, and this last phase has really weighed you down and made things like really hard to bear. Okay. And to the point of it not being functional anymore, because you realize you're working all the time and you're lonely and like just humbled by life. So this is up until this point, very dramatic. And then a true Scorpio style. Now let's take a look at what's starting today. Okay, so we have I think, realignment with your core priorities, out of success, willing to risk a little bit of financial success in order to bring balance into your life. There could be someone new in your life that you're really attracted to. Page of Wands, male or female. I read the pages as like initial interactions with people, you know, like you don't really know where it's going to happen, where it's going to lead to, but it's, you know, it's but it's like a strong attraction or a hope of new connection. Now this doesn't have to be love. This could be a new friendship that's exciting for you. But I think that there's definitely there's something, how do you say, regretful. It doesn't feel like a fight. It doesn't feel like a breakup. Not necessarily. It feels more like a difficult moment between two people, or coming to realize that people can't really get along or are hurting each other. That's always tough, when you realize that you or your partner or both of you are toxic and you love each other, but you can't really be together. There's just some kind of like math in it that's not mathing. That's the humbling part, right? And here we have this like learning a lesson from all this and making a commitment to finding balance and to find like a more balanced approach to life and fulfilling yourself a bit more. And then we have oncoming the Sagittarian card, integration, acceptance. This is the Temperance card, harmony. And so I think that like you're really putting in the effort to bring close people in, because it's in the 10th house. It's not as personal, right? But you've had these crazy transits in your 7th house, and Jupiter's in your 7th house right now as well. But there's this like reaching out to the people in your community and at work, being more friendly with people at work. Maybe you've realized that you've self-isolated from people at work so much, and being friendlier and, you know, just built like thawing that ice between yourself and other human beings. I think that's what we're talking about here in the next 9 months. Nice. Friendly connections. And look at all these, you open yourself up a little, Scorpio. Look at all these pages coming in. New relationships, many different people. And 2 of Pentacles, 2 of Trees. It's a little bit of a nervous moment. Like some will work out, some won't. You can't guarantee that everything's going to be great. The ultimate outcome card is 8 of Swords. I think you're challenging yourself, and that's why you're getting the 8 of Swords, which means that you're challenging yourself to open up yourself up to other people. And not every single relationship, is going to be great. But you're challenged, and I think that's what this represents. So I applaud you for being brave, Scorpio. You should do this. This is a good energy. Even if it feels scary right now, I think you should try. And then you'll figure out in the next iteration where to go next. Remember, 2026 is going to be a huge moment for you, because that's when there's going to be an eclipse in Leo, right in the same degree where Venus is joining the sun right now. Maybe like, yeah, it's a 23rd degree eclipse in the same position. Nothing else close to it before and after. So this is the one. And so we're heading in that direction. So the reason I'm mentioning this may seem like a scary thing, Eight of Swords, but I think you should try. And I think that you should be not afraid of facing like situations or a future that's not defined, or like that you're not sure is great. Because you have to be willing to face an Eight of Swords situation to work through it to get to the other side. So I think you should continue to be brave, continue on what's inspiring you right now, pursue those relationships with different people, and integrate what your heart truly wants. Because I think in the past what you were choosing was circumstances in which on the surface it seemed okay, but it was surface level. And so the back end of it didn't work very well because you forced your will onto a surface level situation interaction that wasn't actually producing for you the type of relationship you want. Now it's a little bit more messy. Now it's a little bit more vulnerable, but it's more out of your true desire. So it's like, how do you say this? Let's say that you're only attracted to tall people, right? And this is really true for women, but I guess men as well, or anyone. But like, but then like forcing yourself to date someone short, because you should, and then you find yourself not really happy with that situation. Not that there's anything wrong with short people, I'm just saying, or the opposite way around, being attracted to short people and dating someone tall, and that not really being comfortable. And this is like outside of the norms or the expectations or what you're supposed to do, going along with that and living your life in a way that is true to you, even if it's not superficially what you think you should do or have to do. Then I think you're having a lot more fun, even if there's potential for an unknown situation in the future that you're going to have to resolve. Okay? That's a part of life. So don't be afraid. Reach out. Go have fun with people and make those connections. Beautiful message for Scorpio. I like this. So Scorpionic, right? Okay. So we have 4 more. Not bad. We did good. Who's next? Aquarius. Speaking of the devil himself, Aquarius. Okay. I have so much to say to Aquarius too. Not today, but just in general. Aquarians, you guys have a lot going on in your chart. So we've been through the slump and now you're on the mend. And in fact, there's a energy here of there's an energy here. There's a couple different things happening here. There's also a layer, which is very important right now, of something truly positive coming into your life. So up until now, the emphasis has been on this low that you've been in. And energetic low. It's just things have been just slow and low. But conversely, you've been more aligned with your emotions and your higher truths or your principles, the things you love, than ever before. So outwardly, maybe things have been slow or not satisfactory, but internally, maybe you're more settled, or finally everybody left you alone, if that makes sense. And so now things are actually emotionally really salient. Okay, so here is your card. Consider your foundation. You are being asked to look at how committed you are to love. So everybody left you alone, but Aquarians are so loving people. So leave me alone, but stay. That's the whole energy. It's the fine balance. It's like how you want to be around people. That's what's most important to you. Hold on. I got to switch around because my legs fall asleep for sitting so long in one spot. And there's no way to pause I would love to pause the stream and take like little intercessions and breaks for like 10, 15 minutes, grab a drink of water or whatever. But there's no room for that. Okay. So I could just literally walk away and we could come back but I don't want to mess with that. Not today, maybe another time, but maybe I'll try it with the members and see how I like it. I never can relax walking away anyway, because I know that there's a live stream waiting for me on the other side. So I don't know if that will ever, like for me personally, be a good option. Okay, but here we go. 7th house. So Venus, so the emergence, so the world has left you alone, Aquarius, but that one person that's important, you're finding, you're like, hey, I need that one person that's important. There's a person who's important that you really want. And yeah, an important person that, and your need for them is emerging with this Venus conjunction with the sun. So that's really a blessing. It's your heart's waking up, and it's, you know, for having been in an energetic low, this is just a coincidence by a couple different factors. You've been in an energetic low, and yet there's such like a positive emotional slant to how things are going. And so, but maybe that makes sense for Aquarians. It's not like it happens every single time you're in this energetic low that, you know, suddenly you are happy. But this combination of things that have been happening are giving you space for that. I think you're preparing yourself. It's almost like an actor who's about to walk center stage, because when Pluto finally enters Aquarius, I think that there's 2 more iterations. There's one more iteration where it just enters Capricorn after this one in 2024 in the fall. But anyway, so there's this hovering over between Aquarius, and you're just about to enter for 22 years and have Pluto in your first house. And I think that's what the transition point for you really is, that when Pluto enters the first house, then you really take center stage. So don't be worried if things are a little bit slow for you right now. I expect that you're feeling a bit happy anyway, by the way things are. And then I think that with this Venus retrograde immersion, I think that like the desire for love is awakened in your heart again. Whether it's love for one person or a couple different people for a job, you have that need once again to be close with someone. So that's emerging. The next 9 months right now, I can see that as consider your foundation, where your starting point is right here. Okay, so we have the 4 of Hearts. It's like a quiet solitude type place, you know? I love this card because like kind of like sitting by and like watching rain or watching thunderstorms or whatever. It's a melancholic space, an easy, gentle space, okay? And so the 4 of Cups, you get what you want, but then you want more. And I think you're coming to realize that you want more out of life or circumstances. Okay, so here is where you're coming from. The Sun, happiness and joy. I love the Sun card so much. And then we have the 6 of Trees. Very productive time in your life where you've been engaging in a lot of exchange with other people. I think that your last 9 months or even the last 2 years have been a lot about sharing with others and like living in ways that you never thought would bring such happiness or fulfillment. Like this low energy doesn't, how do I say this? It's like sometimes when you have fewer clothes, I have a lot of clothes. This is my vice. I have a lot of clothes. And sometimes I know this, but I'll never get rid of them. Like I love my clothes. I keep the ones they're sentimental. Like I remember when I bought this, that's me. Okay. I'm not materialistic otherwise, but I have lots of clothes. And so I have sentiment for my clothes. But I am fully aware that if I had one shirt or one pair of jeans or a couple pairs of shirts and a couple pairs of jeans, then that would be like simpler and easier and more like Steve Jobs used to do that, wear one shirt, one type of shirt, not the same shirt. So he had that, it's kind of like a decision exhaustion, but I use clothes as an expression of like how I'm feeling and like artistic expression. So for me, that's not the point. But like, it's a really good point about what Steve Jobs did was like wear a simple shirt and keep it simple, and not exhaust yourself. And so I think that maybe in some type of energetic flow you had simplicity or minimalism, Aquarius. I'm getting to the point. I know it seems weird, but I'm trying to give you an honest answer. And I think that that's where you had your joy. And then we have the Three of Swords. I think that there's been a continual feeling of, I wish things happened faster. I think that there's this feeling that that you've been in. It's like, I want things to progress faster. I want things to speed up and progress. And then we have the Acceptance card, Sagittarian card. And then we have the Page of Wands. I think that there's something that you wanted that was slightly out of your reach, Aquarius, in the last 9 months. It was like an adventure or journey. Maybe your friend was going somewhere and you wanted to go, but you just couldn't. There's been missed opportunities, or what feels like missed opportunities, because of the energetic flow, because of circumstances. But those missed opportunities were like maybe kind of your mind playing tricks on you. The grass is greener on the other side. They were still nice things that you couldn't do because of situations. But I think that if you had gone do them, then they would have drained you or overweighed you down, and it would have it was not in alignment with what you needed. So you've had a lot of things going. You're very adventuresome people, right? So if you're kind of not doing much energetically, and there's like adventure on the horizon, you're like, oh, I want to go there. I want to do this. I want to do that. So you feel like you're missing out a little bit. But it wasn't practical for you to go after so many things in the last while. And that's changing. Like I said, you're building up for this change of Pluto entering Aquarius. So you need to conserve your energy right now as much as possible and finish up on things. Look at these cards. Because then it's going to move so fast, you're not going to have time to make decisions. So remind yourself, it feels slow right now, but as Pluto enters Aquarius, it's going to pick up, and it's going to pick up for 22 years. So, you know, long time. So Page of Hearts, Page of Cups, new relationship possibility in the near future. So this is the new phase that's starting right now, Venus in the morning. And then we have the Three of Hearts, make up with someone. This is a very sweet relationship, sweet feelings, romance, love. Very, very good sentiment. It is happening in your 7th house. So this is a real strong chance that, like I was trying to say, rather than building out social relationships with a ton of people, I think you're yearning for a connection with one person right now, you know, with that special connection. I don't think you're ready or so open to a ton of people in your life again, but I think like one buddy, you know, whether it's a friend or romance or something coming through strongly. Oh, see, very strong love cards. It is happening in your 7th house. So you have the transit for love in this Venus retrograde. Okay. And I'm not saying like don't jump into a relationship before Venus turns direct, right? But this is on the horizon now as she's turned retrograde. You have 9 months. Ace of Pentacles. Wow. Okay. And then we have the Seven of Hearts. So again, this can mean disillusionment with what you actually get, but also be careful. I feel like, and this is Lilith too in the 7th house. I've told people about this quite a lot. The desire to have a relationship right now for Aquarian types is really strong. Lilith will make you feel like you have to do it and even sacrifice to get it. And that's not always the best decision. So be very careful with, you know, these urges of imposing your love onto a situation that you don't know fully yet in order to get that feeling. That's the warning about moving forward, or especially spending money on that feeling, that sense of fulfillment and hope. Okay? So I'm not saying this situation is bad, but if you feel yourself doing all of the work or putting all the effort in, then hang back a little bit. Okay. And then we have the Chariot card, you're going to overcome all of these little different mental tricks that are going on in your mind. So you are going to resolve everything. Just give it time. You should not be worried. It's a 2-year window for you for transition. And so allow yourself that. Enjoy your life. If you meet someone and fall in love, then go and have fun. But don't sacrifice yourself, or don't impose your imagination on a situation that isn't there. Don't hurt yourself in the process, right? Consider your foundation of what you're dealing with, and know that the outcome of this will be good, and you don't have to control the outcome. The outcome is coming your way in a positive light, okay? So I love this reading. I really like your guys' readings today. I think everybody's, ever since Jupiter and the North Node joined together, we did a video for that in May? And it's true. Things are maybe things are really messy in the world right now. But I think that there's a lot of positivity coming in. And I want to remind you guys that we're in about a 2-year window, and that 2-year window is going to end. So I told you guys it's about like a 2-year sweet spot right now, in which things get seemingly better and we have things to work with. So put that energy into your life right now to make it better, to, get what you want out of life, and to achieve the things that you want. Because later, I'm going to tell you guys about this later, but later there will be complicating astrology, just like when COVID happened. And there's going to be complicating energies that are going to make life more complicated from the external and internal. It's just going to be a different dynamic. So this is the calm in the storm. Use it wisely. Don't waste your time. Live your life. Okay? That's my little pep talk, but it's genuine, right? Okay. Next we have Gemini. I've been like, Gemini, where is Gemini? Here is Gemini. Let's do your reading. Okay, so Sun, Moon, and Rising, Gemini. Gemini. Don't make me start singing. By the way, in my last video, I noticed I was singing. I didn't do that on purpose. In the introduction, I was like, da-da-da-da-da, because I was switching on the mic or something. I was singing to myself. And I don't realize I'm singing to myself, but I guess I am. Okay, better than talking to yourself, but I do that sometimes too, especially when I'm stressed. Okay, so just remember this, remember that, whatever. Okay, so we have be supportive. Make a genuine effort to show you care, Gemini. Oh, look at this, Geminis. Show your love, Gemini. Show you care. Okay, so let's talk about your astrology first. I feel like we're in the home stretch now. See, this is why I like Virgo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, because it gets me through to the home stretch. And now we have 3 readings left. It'll be just over 3 hours today. That's okay. You guys are worth it. And we will have a member reading soon. There's just a series of transits right now that I want to make content for everyone about, but in the middle of this, members will get their content as well. Okay, so it's just a little bit of a bottleneck right now in terms of a lot's happening, right? Okay, so Gemini, for you, this conjunction is in the 3rd house that you actually rule in a natural chart. And so I think that for you, a lot is connected to siblings, cousins, people around you who are your same age, people you've known from school. I think that right away what I'm getting is, between this card and the astrology here, is that pouring your love towards people that are your cohort, your community in that way, is I see you as very caring and supportive towards them. And I see you as very this being a real priority right now, of you being the glue that gels everyone together. You being the one who brings love into your relationships and helping others out. Like a sister who's struggling and helping that sister out, that kind of thing. So I think for you, this is this Venus emergence, the morning star, has a lot to do with you bringing people in for dinner, or it doesn't have to be heavy. Just like, you know, bring people in, have a good time. I think that a lot of that's coming up is being a leader for your community. And when I say your community, I mean like your siblings, your cousins. It's like, you know, when people start to get old and our parents get older and they sort of still have their social circles, but as adults, we kind of end up taking on that role and being the central figures in family life. That's what it feels like here, where you're coming through as this glue that binds your family together, glue that binds your friends together, and you're not referring to your parents to set the pace anymore, but more so you're the one who's kind of taking on that central role of harmonizing family. Okay, so that's a very nice message for Gemini. Geminis are very good because there's the archetype of the child, right? And you can see like a 5-year-old child grabbing everybody's hand and with wisdom bringing them all together. That's a very Gemini kind of like, hey guys, let's be friends, and putting in that effort. Let's have a dinner together, you know, once a month or something. I'll cook, you know, whatever. Whatever makes sense to you. Okay, so be supportive of other people. And we have Knight of Pentacles. You're in alignment. That's a very strong energy for Gemini. I'm getting goosebumps. I think that that's actually like nailed it right on the head. The real fraternity, of course, it's the brothers, Gemini, right? But it's the fraternity of, and the cohesion. The lovers is the brothers, the tarot card. It's the cohesion of bringing people together. Very loving. And this is like really strongly in alignment, being the grounding force for your community, for people you love in the past. So we're looking at the last 9 months. This is added for context. We have the 7 of Angels. And then we have the 5 of Trees. Okay, so stress, 7 of Angels, and 5 of Trees. I think you've had to let someone go possibly in the last 9 months or so. This could be a family member or someone close to you. And this was or even a situation had to change. And there's like this gentle walking away. You know, it's time to go, but I'm sad to go sort of energy. And then we have the shadow, so that you shut down emotionally from that. Feels like it's like having a sibling, for example, who is struggling a lot with something that makes it impossible for you to be in their life, and then shutting down and not allowing that energy in at all. And it's just a regretful moment when you realize that you can't be there for everyone, because I know you try to. And then we have the Page of Trees. There has been distractions and other people, but nothing quite hits the spot. This really feels like someone close to you. It feels like possibly someone your own age, but it could be something else. It can even be a pet, like a dog or a cat. People love their pets, you know, more than they love their family. So this could have been a moment in which, you know, it's time to walk away. Unfortunately, the problem with cats and dogs is they don't live very long. So they don't get to share, they share enough of our life to be hugely significant, but not long enough to like be there for a long, long time. So we're always improvising, right? And so there's been other fulfillments. Oh, it's just so sad, Gemini. I'm sorry to see this, that you've gone through this stuff. I think definitely you're healing from the grief and the regret of the loss. And again, this is a normal thing in people's lives. And I think that you've taken some time to be on your own to heal whatever loss you have experienced. Oh, so sad. And then we have the oncoming energy. So this is the context, like a loss of a relationship. So still a little bit alone, which is the retreat. And that's Virgo card. The Hermit usually. Ace of Angels. You're going to start to communicate with people a little bit by text. Talk with people a little bit. Remember, the message is building community. Because the context informs what you do next, right? So if you've lost something special or someone special in your life, that informs that you want to, you know, be, after you heal, you will want to reach out to people. Like, valuable relationships matter to you and awakens you up. Geminis are very forgiving, and they're very like flexible in terms of their relationships. So you guys do have that, you know, re-entering relationships is a common thing for you. Six of Swords. Walking away from the past. Oh, such a sad motivation, but it's leading to a good thing. Remember, building community and friendship and sort of bringing your family together, whether your family is a blood family or not. Two of Hearts, Two of Cups, union, Queen of Wands. Somebody's helping you and bringing light into the situation. I think really positive things are coming for you in your social relationships, in your connection to your family, in setting the precedent of a close connection with others. It just feels really tender and sweet that you've gone through this, and I'm sorry that you have. And I think that it's not been some of you have actually even gotten a new pet because of a loss of something else already. Page of Trees and Four of but you had like hung out at home together by yourselves. Very sweet. And then the outcome is the Nine of Angels. Look at you grieve. You're still grieving. It's always, you know, when like a person decides to be a certain way because someone they loved a lot passes away. So it's like, because that person is no longer in your life and they meant so much to you and they inspire you to be a certain way, that's what I think is motivating you. So the future moving forward is not sad. It's not Nine of Swords, but it definitely is informed by your loss or grief or just an ending of a relationship in some way, where you're very obsessed almost with being the catalyst for close connections with people. And so I think it's going to really hit strong in your family or close friends. So it's nice. It's like, I don't know. It's just the awareness of, it's just sensitivity has emerged about how you, what people, like about values in life. Beautiful, Gemini. I wish you well. And I'm sorry for your loss. That sounds terrible. Okay. Okay, so two more. I got very emotionally involved in this one. Okay. I got really emotional when I said dog, honestly. You lost your dog? What? I love dogs. I love cats and dogs, but I love dogs so much. Just the idea of a dog passing away. And unfortunately, they do live for like 8 years, right? Like 8 to 12 years, something like. No, that's such a sin. Why can't they GMO dogs to be like parrots so they can live 80 years, right? Just GMO a dog for me that can live with me for the rest of my life. Okay, so Leo's next. Meow meow. Hey friends. I've been getting so many questions from Leos about what's going on because this transit is very, intense in the Leo sign. And, good news for you. I mean, provided you don't lose your temper and you don't get mad with people, I think you're good. I think that this is, so up until now, it may have felt a little weird because the Venus in the underworld and ending her Hesperus cycle, that would have felt uncomfortable. But now Venus is emerging as the morning star, and this is in your first house. So you're really kind of stepping into the moment and feeling great. Okay, so we have patience. Did you guys notice that these cards, none of them, I never got the same card twice? That's rare. Have patience. Love is patient and kind always. Yes. So first of all, Leos, I think more than anybody else, you should be waiting for September 15th, because the energies are not bad for you, but they're still intense, and you don't want to get in the chopping in the middle of the hurricane, so to speak. So Lilith is still in Leo. Venus is still in the underworld for a couple more days. And you just really want to mind yourself when you are when you are going through, sorry, it's just still adjusting. When you are working with these energies. Also, Mars is going to have this weird kite, and for you, that's the second house. I'll do something completely separate about that. I need to still like prepare, and I really want to do like it's a lot of big energy. It deserves its own video. And so, so the kite is going to hit you something to do with finances, because it's in your second house, or material possessions. So you want to be extremely careful with how you initiate things right now for the next month and a half. But the emergence of Venus is very positive for you as the morning star. And it's going to be around for 9 months. So you'll have plenty of time to activate its energy, okay? So my advice for you is chill for now. Although you do have great opportunities here in your 10th house, and your North Node is in the 9th house right now for the next year. So if some wonderful opportunity comes in, which is possible, you should go for it. But I think you're going to be feeling more like yourself. The Venus emergence and Cazimi is in your first house. If you want to remember what that feels like, go back to 2015 and 2019 to connect with that. And be very careful with, I made this video, and I'm not against, you guys know you're my besties, meow meow. But every single sign has a shadow side. And I made a video for everyone. It's a short form video in which I mentioned all the dark aspects of the Leo sign, right? And we all have that somewhere in our chart, not just Leos. So I'm not taking a shot at Leos in any way. And so with this rebirth and re-emergence right now for Leo, I feel like the weight of all those shadow aspects is getting really cleansed, and you're freeing yourself from it. Not all of it, not all Leos, we all have aspects of the shadow. We all have aspects of every single permutation of personality in us. It's just on what we nurture and what we connect with and what we represent. But I think that as Venus emerges, the weight of those shadowy aspects of Leo, you get really free from. Specifically, I think the big thing with Leos is many people stereotype you as being attention seekers and like egocentric, which I don't think is like, I think that in the shadow it's a Leo trait, but I think Leos are, I think their generosity comes across as egocentrism, honestly. And I think that Leos just get so excited about the experience of being that it looks to other people like it's something else than it isn't. So you're just living your best life, and you want everyone to be happy, and you want everyone to meet you at that happiness. But some of the other signs interpret that as, why is she happy all the time, or why is he happy all the time? So some of the weight that's attached, that's being burned off right now by the sun, is that label that you're egocentric. Although, you know, like I said, shadow side of Leo is egocentric, but for the most part, it's not. It's your joy for life, joie de vivre, and also your generosity, your heartfelt generosity towards other people. Okay, so have patience for all this. September 15th, okay, that's your timeline. You can still live your life until then, but I would just be very careful with my boundaries. And I am sacrificing views for this. I could tell you and gas you up and tell you woo woo wah wah, but then like I want you guys to be successful, and I want you to be happy. So you want to know the energies as what they are and not gaslight them into something they're not, you know? And positive things come out all the time. That's true. But it is a time in which it's a choppy energy. We're in choppy waters here. Okay. So let's take a look at your tarot cards. People say I usually run through the last 2 signs, and today I'm committed to reading every single sign. Not the same way, but just really giving you guys the full deal. So do please like and comment on my video when I post it. Leave me a comment because it's good for the algae. Plus I've been away, so you guys may want to unsubscribe and resubscribe again to turn on all notifications, all that. Okay, so back to Leo. Lilith and Leo, right? Okay, so 3 of hearts, 3 of cups. 3 of cups. I just have a feeling that you're connecting with your roots. I have this feeling that you've been bullied from that happy grandeur energy. And I think that there's like a sentiment of like, no, I really like me like that. I have these moments because I have strong Leo aspects too. Like people are like, you're too happy. Like, I really like me like that. I'm not doing that to be like, I'm just really happy to be here. I know that's really, really annoying, so I tried, but when I was young, I was very much like that. Hey guys, how's it going? So that's a very Leo energy. Okay, so, and it also burns you out if you do it too much, right? Because too much, meow meow. Okay, so 3 of cups. You're reconnecting with whatever you have been bullied out of, or a state, or that energy. So like maybe you can be a little bit more joyful or joyous right now. And then we have the past. Okay, so this is Hesperus, the last 9 months. 7 of Pentacles. That was a real Leo moment. Good times. Okay, so we have the King of Swords. Okay. Yeah, it could have been one person that kept on like cutting in on you. King of Angels, King of Swords. Like not necessarily calling you names, but created an environment in which it wasn't safe to be you for a while. Or maybe you wanted to be very careful so you could achieve something, like so you had to be very constrained. 7 of Pentacles, like towards a financial goal. Like you're like, I can't talk to all my besties on the phone right now because I have to get to work. It could have been that kind of like, I'm gonna get down to business energy, which is good. Have patience, it's gonna work out. We have 2 of Stars. Decisions. That was like a super, and happy birthday, you guys. Oh my gosh, besties, I'm sorry. Happy birthday. So we have make decisions. I love Leos, like you guys. Oh, I love being around Leos, it's so great. Okay, so we have 2 of Wands. You guys are the best. So we have this 2 of Wands, which is like a decision. I have a feeling that you've been really tempering yourself towards a certain goal. And I think you've recently made some decisions about that. Ooh, I like this card. You've probably traveled a lot. This is the World card, by the way. And then we have the 8 of Cups. And then it's time. I think you turned certain things off. You've limited yourself. You've lived a constricted life for a while now. And I think right now your heart's waking up to say, hey, I want more. I want to like live. Leo's primary motto is to live and live good. Okay, so I think that that's getting turned on right now. So remember in the beginning, I told you Venus is chasing the sun, right? Phosphorus, chasing the sun. She will be behind the sun. You guys can't see the chart. I can. Hold on. So she's behind the sun right now for the 9 months. So she's chasing the sun. By the way, did everybody find out whether they're morning star or evening star Venus? Go and check it out once I'm posted this. I'll add the link. And then we can do something with that in the future, in the near future, something about that. So find out if you're the morning star or evening star. That also depends on the cycle. Okay. Then we have the 4 of Hearts, 4 of Cups. And then we have the 5 of Swords. Okay? So this is the phosphorus. This is what's waking up in Leo right now. I think you've been avoiding having a conversation with someone for a while, Leo. I think you've avoided having a conversation. You've stayed away from certain territory, walking on eggshells, doing everything else but, and I think you're going to confront it. And then we have Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus. Somebody's waiting for your initiation. Somebody's waiting for you to initiate. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Wands, sorry. It's a circle, so I always think pentacles. And then we have the Four of Wands. So don't be afraid. Whatever you initiate will lead to a good success. I am seeing here that for some of you, you have been waiting for a conversation about home or housing or family. And I'm getting the message that there's going to be a positive outcome with your home and family or foundational things. Have patience. It's going to work out. I have a feeling that you think that things are not going to work out. I think you're fearing showing what you truly want in a situation, and I don't think this is the situation in which you should be worried. I think there is something you need to confront and address. Specifically, I think you need to tell someone how you feel about the situation, but the outcome is the Four of Pentacles. This is a strong message for anybody who's looking for a house, who's looking to move, who wants to talk to their landlord about moving and is worried about it. This is going to lead to a good outcome. This is going to lead to initiating over the next 9 months is going to be a good solution. It almost feels like that person is helping them to get to where they want to be. So don't be afraid. And you're not missing out, so don't go rushing and trying to make it happen. It's going to come your way. But when it presents itself, trust the process, okay? So Leo, meow, meow, happy birthday, you guys, and I'll talk to you all soon. That was funny. I just got the giggles. I'm sorry. So, true, yeah. I love the Leos. Okay. I love all signs, but Sagittarius. Hey, Sagittarius, you're the last one today. So anyway, thank you guys all for joining. Oh, I have a new member. Hi, Monica. Thank you for becoming a Verusian. just a little before we do Sag. Excuse me. I'm going to switch Verusians to be like a donation level. There is still going to be periodic videos that are going to come to Verusians still, and this month they will. I'll give you guys notice, but I'm going to switch the all sign is going to be the only tier for memberships. And if you like a video or if something I say helps you or whatever, then you can become a Verusian for a month and access that content. But it's not going to be monthly content anymore. It's too much for me to feel like I have another thing to do, so it'll be just by donation. But I'll tell you guys ahead of time if that happens. So the low tier is going to be donation only, and then the higher tier is going to be all the videos and stuff. And I am still going to put out periodic thank you content for Verusians, so, but it's not going to be every month. It's just going to be like, you know, when I throw out an extra video or whatever at you. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind. It's just too much for me. Oh, I got another one. Hey, girl. Thank you very much. Thank you, lovely heart. 2 new members. Yay. Welcome. Okay, so, but we'll talk about this later. I just really want to be careful and tell you guys things ahead of time. Nothing's going to change until everyone has had a chance to know about it. So you're still fine. Okay, so Sagittarian, let's pick this is the last, but not, it's like, oh, we've been here 3 hours. Wow, this has been a marathon. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys like it. When I post the video, even if you've commented in the chat, can you please leave a comment and say, hey girl, hey, or something in the comments? That will be helpful. These are like almost full videos, right? That 12 full videos that we filmed live. Maybe less, but like they're pretty long. Okay, so Sagittarian, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okay. Physical touch is important. For some of us, nothing is more important than a tender touch. This might include a pat on the back or giving a hug to someone who needs it. Aww. Everybody had a different oracle card. Okay, Sagittarian, physical touch. Yeah, baby. Maybe my Austin Powers voice. Okay, so let's take a look at your astrology, Sag. And so I had like this wonderful client, I think yesterday, from Australia. And she is a Sag and Scorpio, like a perfect balance of Sag and Scorpio. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful chart. I was telling her, I'm like, your chart is so beautiful. And I'm not, because people can assume that I'm just saying that. I never in a personal reading tell you guys like I love your chart or like you're gonna find love if that's not what I truly am seeing. And sometimes people want me to say certain things and I will not say it unless I see it in your chart, right? But and so yeah, truly beautiful balance between Scorpio and Sagittarius placements. If you're one of the lucky people who are balanced between Scorpio placements and Sag, just know it's a lovely combination to have, like, you know, Mercury and Sagittarius, Sun and Scorpio, whatever combination of inner planets between the two. But she was like perfect balance and just not much anywhere else except Virgo. And then like these two big houses of Scorpio, Sagittarius. I'm like, that's a beautiful balance. Scorpios can be a little bit dark, right? It's a little bit of a dark energy. Sag can be a little unhinged without any grounding energy. So when you have that balancing act, Sag is such a wonderful sign to have like complementary signs in. So if you have transits in, you know, like Virgo, or if you have transits in, I don't know, something else that's grounding, it really helps the chart and the balance of Scorpio and Sag energy. Just such a wonderful energy together. So hi, if you're watching, I think your chart is really nice, really stuck in my mind. So anyway, so let's get back into the reading for Sag. And so for you, you have this emergence event here in the 9th house. And so while Lilith is in your 9th house, be very careful of being overly ambitious and be careful of your own ideas to some extent. However, the conjunction between the Sun and Venus is emerging out of you new ideas, you know, new inspiration. You're being one with the world. It's a pretty cool vibe. It's a good vibe here. And it's kind of like, it almost feels like springtime for you in your chart, because you're just waking up in this energy. So it's a very nice energy for Sag, very fresh, very like dewy. At the end of August, we have that kite, and I'll do a dedicated video about it as well. But it is going to change your outward life quite a bit. And I think this kite is very different for mundane astrology, which is like world politics and stuff, and personal astrology. I think this kite is going to be much more positive for individuals. And in the world, we could be facing like nuclear threat, Poseidon, nuclear weapons. That's what's on my mind. Or some other like big move by someone being unhinged or problematic. I'm hoping not, but it could yield some kind of crazy. But on a personal level, I think that it's going to be a lot of movement for us individually. And I want to dedicate a video for this because so in the context of an unhinged world environment, I think on a personal level, this Mars opposite Neptune and, you know, kind of the midpoint between Pluto and Uranus here, I think something's going on that's going to be productive. I think everybody should chill. Honestly, just friendly reminder to chill, to relax, and take it easy and see what the world does around you, and then act in September. So first, you're going to have a lot of energy behind you, Sag, and it's happening in your 10th house. So this is why I'm saying this now. And be very careful with how you apply it. If you use your time wisely, and if you do not initiate too strongly, right? If you don't initiate too strongly, I'm just trying to think of the words. If you don't, if you're aware of your environment or the outside circumstances, you can really gain momentum here. It's a really nice, it's a beautiful astrology. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so now let's do some, but no unhinged thoughts. Lilith is at the top of your chart. You're prone to be very kind of like off on a tangent and for the wrong reason. Who was it? Someone copied me last week or this week, and it was like really mean-spirited copying. And this happens all the time, but this person was mean, and this person is a therapist, okay? And so, like, weird person. But my opinion of many therapists is they're problematic, so it kind of falls into that. But that led to other people copying that person, and I got upset with the other people, and I almost started a whole thing about this because I thought this other person or group of people were just ripping me off. Whereas in fact, this other sneaky, manipulative, I don't know what to say, worm, instigated covertly dog whistling in the corner. This is how people operate all the time. And they fed the other people unknowingly into this situation, this triangulation, right? And so I'm explaining Lilith in the upper houses because that's where, and I was so close to, making a bad situation or confront. And then I realized what had happened, that this person triangulated and started this BS trifecta effect. And these other people who didn't know what was going on got completely drawn into it. It was so, word to the wise, use caution in terms, Lilith is messing stuff up. Okay, so be word to the wise, use caution. My chart is very similar to Sag because of my rising placement. But yeah, so word to the wise, use caution. Okay, so let's take a look where you're at. So we have Ace of Wands, a new fresh beginning. So yeah, I think you're in a good direction. Just be very cautious with the L, we'll call her. I think we found a new thing. We won't say its name. We'll just go like that. Okay. So I had a lot of fun with you guys today. I can't wait to read your comments in the chat. I read them after. So anyway, so Ace of Wands, you're on a good track. I love Sag energy. All this fire energy around. Like, I love it. Okay, so let's take a look at the last 9 months. So we have the Hesperus phase that we just ended, the moon and the 6 of stars. You've gained a lot of success, but it came at a cost. Cost to your relationships, just learning things about people, things you may not want to know. And then let's take a look. We have the 2 of, you had to be very quiet about a certain piece of information that you know about. And I think that you're fine and you're successful, but I feel like there is, you're fine and you're successful, but I think that there is it came at a cost of awareness of something in your environment. It spoiled one aspect of your social or your environment because now you know what that's about. And then we have the 4 of Angels, 4 of Swords, and then we have the new beginning. This is the Uranus, and Uranus is on a square to the placement of the Leo placement, the Venus. It looks like you, Sag, went on some kind of success pattern. You achieved something that you really wanted, but that came at the cost of respect for some people or a situation. So you had to, it was just a byproduct of your success, coming to realize about some things. And you've had to make some decisions about it. I suspect maybe not cutting people loose, but definitely distancing yourself to get some rest. And now you're ready to take on that success that you have earned and apply it towards a new direction. So, you know, it's back on. Like, you've been on a sleep state, you've been relaxing and catching up your energy, and now you're initiating again. Okay. So next we have, I had a good laugh there. Since Leo and Sag made me laugh a lot today. So we have the, in a positive way, like joyful. So we have force and strength, which is Leo energy. I think that there's been something cooking on the back burner for you, Sag. That's really great. And now you're going to apply it and apply a lot of positive force moving forward to what you're doing. Okay. And then we have the 8 of Angels. There's some things ahead that are going to be hard to figure out. How about this? Let's just say it this way. It's almost like you've gained a certain amount of success and you have like representation or like a manager, and like you learn some shady things and you need to get out from underneath that manager's influence, but you're still successful. It's just the problem is, how do you get from point A to point B, right? So right now the moving forward energy is, how do you get forward? How do you make that happen? Okay. So someone's shady, something's not right, but it's not the end of the world. And moving forward, you just have to figure out how to manage that situation. Okay. Because you have success in your sight. Okay. You know this. Okay. So we have 3 of Pentacles. It does feel like work success. And with Mars in the 10th house, I think you'll have, listen, sit and wait for your opportunity to come around. It's almost like waiting for, like, imagine sitting by a brook and logs are floating by and you have to wait to jump on the log for the right log to take you away, right? So you have to wait for that right opportunity. Here is the next message. Ace of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. And then we have the Sagittarius Temperance card. I think you're going to find your way. Some of you guys are going to need a lawyer. Some of you guys are going to need like legal help, who's going to be tactfully helping you, or an advocate to help you get through the situation. I really strongly feel Sag needs to like figure out their way. That person or that situation, the pothole that you see, is not going to ruin your life. You're just going to have to figure out how to manage it better. Okay? And then we have the 6 of Trees. This is coming up for so many people, Moon and Taurus. Generosity, receiving, giving. It's almost like dating someone who's kind of, at first you thought they were okay, and then you find out they're kind of a creep. And then you're still successful. Maybe you met another person who's really great, and you know you have to get away from the creepy dude or the creepy girl. But it's just a matter of figuring out your way. You're still on your way to success and a good outcome. And this is your card, right? So tact, you know, Ace of Angels is like text messages or careful, planned emails to communicate how you feel. Anyway, you guys, how was your Sunday morning? I hope you guys had fun. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for becoming members. I'll be back with more soon. I had a lot of fun with you guys today. It's been a long time. And yeah, L for Kia. Don't be catching any of those L's. Yeah, gives a new meaning to the L, right? Okay. Yeah, don't catch any L's. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.